Sunrise creeping, world is waking up. Got a fresh coffee brewing in my cup. So many stories waiting to be told. From the headlines to the whispers in the street. Every take, every angle we can meet. Let's get talking, pull up a seat. Come on over, let's hear what's on your mind. Chatting with Kathy, the truth we're gonna find. Current stories, opinions, and more to say. Making sense of another busy day. Everybody's got a point of view. Something different, something honest, something new. Let's break it down and see it through. Come on over, let's hear what's on your mind. Chatting with Kathy, the truth we're gonna find. Current stories, opinions, and more to say. Making sense of another busy day. Chatting with Kathy, come on and stay.
Good morning. Welcome to Chatting with Kathy. I'm Kathy Brooks. Hey, you guys. How is everybody? Good morning. Good morning. I guess it's a short day in court today, so this won't be a long stream. Lots of stuff going on this morning, though. If you're new here, please say hello in the chat. I keep seeing comments under my other videos that people just found my channel, so I really appreciate that. And hopefully, if you're here, we are an actual really nice bunch of people. We can say different opinions here. We don't attack each other, so that's all cool. And so my name is Kathy Brooks. I'm a registered nurse. I am a mother of 4, grandmother of 2, and a content creator. And most of my registered nurse experience is in women's health, OB, specifically labor and delivery, and case management for pregnancy and postpartum women. So this case really gets to me because I can see how my jaw hits the floor right now, how even there's so many women out there that aren't supporting this as far as like women's mental health goes, perinatal mental health. There's a huge gap in care. So that is why I am here following this trial, to spread awareness because it's so important. And if you know me, my daughter is also she is a psychotherapist. She's a marriage family therapist, and she's very invested in perinatal mental health as well. And yesterday when she texted me, she's like, why did the jury leave early? And she's on vacation in Hawaii right now. And she's like, Perry, she can't believe this even went to trial. And that is her expertise. I skim over it based on what I do because high risk, anybody with any mental health condition, if you've been diagnosed with anxiety, if you've been diagnosed with bipolar, if you've been diagnosed with depression, if you've been diagnosed with any of those as a woman, when you're pregnant, you are a high risk pregnancy because you're more apt to become, to develop perinatal issues, perinatal mental health issues, postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, which is what the whole thing with Lindsay Clancy is. It's postpartum psychosis. I'm convinced now the prosecution didn't prove anything to me otherwise. They did not prove to me that this was a planned murder, They didn't prove it. In my opinion, everything that I've seen has leaned towards this. Lindsay looked for help. She tried so hard. And as a nurse, she tried harder than most people would. Most people would have been like, well, my doctor said, and give up. So I really do believe that Lindsay was screwed by the system. I'm shocked how horrible her care was in the end. Try this med, try that med, and the fact that I'm also shocked that the DSM doesn't consider perinatal mental health disorders a separate category because it is. So we got a long way to go. And if you're a woman and you don't support this, I don't know what to tell you because we've had such a fight our whole lives. And I personally am not a liberal. I do not lean that way. I don't believe in socialism. I lean conservative, but I also am not one complete way and not the other. I think this is a huge, huge, huge issue that needs to be addressed in the United States. And it's addressed in other countries, which blows my mind. So, you know, the patriarchy is alive and well right now, I think. And it really, I don't love it. All right, let me see who's here. Now that I did my little soapbox moment, you know, my head starts thinking about this stuff when I'm alone with the yo-yos back there. And anyone watch the Stand in Peace for Lindsay gathering protest? I want to see that. I have it up on the screen. I'm going to go over it a little bit because I have not seen it at all. So I want to check it out. Hello, Bella Italian. It's good to see you today as well. Thank you for being here. I stand for the children and them protesters. We all stand with the children. I hope we all stand with the children, because there's other children in this world that will be affected by perinatal mental health disorders if we don't get this straight. There's other children that will die when their mom has postpartum psychosis if we don't get this figured out and straightened out. I hope it brings awareness. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. That's right, because people are in all kinds of different time zones. To me, it's 9:30 a.m. in California. The gathering outside the courthouse made my day. Okay, I can't wait to see it. I'm excited. Oh, I don't stand for those protesters. This is crazy. But do you not believe in perinatal mental health disorders? Like what's holding you back from being able to take a look at both? Like, this is a mental health issue that has to do with pregnancy, postpartum women. And we got dead children that are affected by perinatal mental health issues. Postpartum psychosis, you know, that's how I look at it. It's not one lane or the other. For me, it's not like the kids don't matter and Lindsay does. It's the combination of what happened, because they're both victims of this terrible disease. That's how I look at it. I don't know how you guys look at it. And you're welcome, Journey. I really do appreciate your position. I do. It gives us all food for thought. I liked it, and they are fighting for mental health awareness for women. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at, you know. And I just hope they didn't cause a mistrial, the jury seeing that. But it didn't happen. Karen Reed had the same thing, and I don't think it had an issue, right? Good morning, Phil. Good morning, good morning, good morning. In the beginning, when we started watching this trial, I said Lindsay needs a Karen Reed type gathering. Because I think she does. I think we all do. Thank God, you know, those of us that have already had our babies and raised them have gone through it. Dr. Phil looks like he's enjoying himself today. Oh, Dr. Phil. He's starting to get a little bit better about the cat, because he started to chase the cat a little while ago because I didn't have the leash on him. And I go, TREAT. And he turned around and came back. So like, we're good. We're getting progress, I hope. But Dr. Phil, did I put his diaper on him? Yes, good. Okay. Make sure I got that freaking diaper on. We can't prove she's faking it. We can't prove she's faking it and prove she's not, but it's proven she ended their life. Yeah, she did end their life. There's no two ways about that, unfortunately. That's the tragedy of the entire thing. Good morning. Hi, all. Hey, Justine. Can't be here. Son and daughter-in-law. Oh, no. We're in a huge accident last night. Oh, no. Huge storms in Scottsdale. Hydroplaned on freeway. They will be okay. Oh, my God. Thank God they're going to be okay. That is so scary. And you guys don't get much rain there either. So I can see why they hydroplaned. Goodness gracious. That's so scary. I hope they're okay. A car can be fixed or replaced, right? But thank you for letting us know. Go take care of them. Oh, awful, awful. Did they break early today because of the crowd supporters? I don't think so. I think I only tried to Google it real quick or whatever. I only didn't find much, but I think it was because there's not an ex-witness available today, maybe. Because I think there's still people to take the stand because defense did not rest. Yeah, they're okay. Thank God. Hey, Funda Cruz. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, hello, my friend. I think they will find her on the lesser charge, which means she will be found guilty and at least go and serve time like a prisoner. There's the Ivy with the jewels. Thank you for the floating heart. Thank you. Thank you. I believe Andrea Yates was psychotic and Lindsay is bipolar. So bipolar is a mental health disorder. Psychotic in psychosis. A bipolar person can be in psychosis. A depressed person can get into psychosis. Schizophrenics have a lot of psychotic episodes. They have to be really well managed with their medications to stay out of it. I don't know what Andrea Yates' initial or her main diagnosis is. Is she schizophrenic? What is her mental health disorder? But she definitely was in psychosis when she drowned her babies. I don't like the way they did it, not outside of court in the middle of a trial. Well, I think I can understand your point on that because that sends a message if the jury sees it, like a biased message, right? Like, look at all these people supporting her. Oh, shit, this is our community. What are we going to do? So I can see, but legally, I don't think there's anything they can do. Didn't they make Karen Reed's people stay way down the block? Like they weren't even allowed to be near the courthouse because of that reason? Because, right, they'd be like, oh, crap, the women in this community are going to be pissed. Look at what they're doing. So I can see why that would be a issue. Hey, Melissa. Yes, sorry. I think a witness can't make it until tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's what it is too. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I got to send my daughter-in-law. I sent her an Amazon gift card. She just said thank you. So I'm going to say you're welcome. Today's her birthday, and I am a terribly last minute person. Okay. Oh, okay. I had her birthday wrong for like the last 4 years. I had on the 6th or the 26th instead of the 20th. And Nick would be like, it's her birthday today. And I'm like, no, and I've done that like 3 years in a row. So today I literally changed it on my calendar. Because he reminded me yesterday. I don't know why I can't keep straight. For some reason, I thought it was the day after my mom's, but the day after my mom's is my, oh God, we have so many birthdays right now that between the end of August, mid to end August through September, there's like 8 birthdays. I have 2, my kids in September, my grandson's in September, the day after his mom's, but she went in labor on his birthday, but she delivered after, the next morning. So it's like, can't keep these birthdays straight, especially in my brain. Okay. I support Lindsay Clancy and the crowd that showed up to support her. Thank you, Ivy. Talk about mental health. This woman came to pick up my bookcases. She was off and was complaining about my dog barking, spiders, mold. Oh my God. Like, okay, lady, you don't have to take them. No worries. Bye-bye. It's always kind of freaky when you let people come to your place of residence. I had a guy come to pick up these. No, what did he come for? Because when I put my house up for sale, I like got rid of a lot of stuff, right? Collect so much stuff. I can't believe how fast you collect shit, But anyway, this guy came to pick up something and I forget what he was. Really nice guy, like super nice, older guy. And then he's like, what are you doing with those rugs? I'm like, those rugs have been in my garage rolled up for a long time. I had these braided rugs that I really liked, a big, huge one in my living room, took up the whole living room floor, but it's so freaking dusty out here in the desert. It was really hard to vacuum it because everything would go through the braids and then you lift it up and there was like dirt underneath it all the time. So like, get rid of those. So then I got just like a plain rug. But anyway, I rolled it up, put it in the garage, and I'm like, I told my son, I go, I don't want to touch those. I don't know what kind of spiders are living in there now because it's been out there for like 2 years. And he goes, oh, what are you doing with those rugs? I'm like, I want to send them to the dump. And he's like, oh, let me see. Can I see? And I'm like, watch out for spiders. I swear to you, as soon as he opened it, like 6 big old spiders were like, meow. I was like, I told you. Oh my God, the spiders are free. And then he called his wife and he called his friend and he's asking everybody if they want these rugs. And I was like, he was here forever. And then he was like, he said something. He was an electrician. He's like, I'm an electrician by trade. And then I made the stupidest thing and said, oh, I have these lights in my back patio that won't come on. I can't figure out what's going on with them. He's like, can I see? So I took him, I'm like, through the backyard to the back patio. I'm like, I'm glad I have cameras. I don't know, And then he started yakking. And then I had my mom had a mini fridge in here when she was here. I had my mom's mini fridge out there because I wanted to get rid of that. And he's like, what about that? I go, you want it? You can have it. But he didn't wind up taking the carpet. So then I had the carpet to deal with now that the spiders have been set free. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, then I found a guy that would, for $100, would take as much as I want to the dump. So I'm like, can you come get the spider? Don't wear good clothes. Like there's spiders on him. Anyway, he was a younger guy, probably like in his early 30s. And he has like a new business that he started, like taking stuff to the dump for people. So he picked up the spider rug and he put it in his truck. And I'm like, oh God, thank you. He took it. It was gone. Mini fridge was gone with electric guy. Like, what? How much drama? People come into your house to buy some crap that you're trying to get rid of. I'm like, I don't know about people coming. Anyway, that was Kathy's story. Kathy's story. I need to put like an emoji up for Kathy's story time. I don't even know if you guys are interested, but I like telling my stories. I was amazed at how many women showed up and how many nationalities represented. That's the other thing. Black women are even worse off when it comes to any mental health or perinatal issues, physical or mental. I had a Black patient and she was having like hyperemesis and she was so sick and and then I was like, well, you need a PICC line, you need TPN, you need some major stuff. And her doctors weren't taking her seriously. And they were like, no, she doesn't need that. And I was like, oh my God, I told her, I go, I'm seeing this firsthand that I'm like, I hate to say this, but there really is a discrepancy. And she's like, yeah, like it's so horrible. I'd love to see the statistics of, in the Black communities, how poorly they're treated. Again, I told you politically I lean conservative, but there's a lot of human issues that I'm not happy about. Good morning, Carolina Hurtado. There is no mold. She said she's stressed out. Yeah, she sounded a little off her rocker, like paranoid, right? That's where you fake a smile and say, I hope it works out for you as you slowly close the door. Okay, bye-bye now. Thanks for coming by. Nice meeting you. She did take them? Oh, good. Good. Bye. Uh-oh. What? Phil. Oh, do not do that. I'm gonna have to go get the crate. Look, they're telling on you. Sit down. Ay. See, he's got a lot of puppy in him, huh? Yeah. All right. Journey, don't hate me, but I am going to play this little protest online crime here before we get to the witness of the day. Oh, and I also when I signed on to StreamYard just now, it showed me a little trick that I didn't know existed where you can actually turn up the sound. Phil, please get down. Come on your get down. He thinks he's a lap dog. No, get down. Get down. Go lay down, everybody. Go. Go play. Where you can turn up sound on your screen share. And I didn't know existed. So maybe that was half the problem over the last couple weeks. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, let me share this. Go lay down, everybody. Okay. Here we go. Dr. Phil better hurry up and become a real dog and not a puppy. Sound. There, I turned up the sound. Didn't even know it existed.
We have someone. Hi. Oh yes. I am Ronnie.
Did you guys want to say something?
Just show support for Lindsay and for Kevin Reddington, who's amazing. He's done just a superb job.
Team Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Creep up front so that everyone can see them.
Would you like to say?
Oh, look at the different flags.
Team Lindsay, you're not alone. We're with you.
Say anything?
We're here to support Lindsay and also all the women in America who's gone through our healthcare system and has been diminished and let down.
Good point.
The healthcare system. Yeah, I work in the healthcare system. I'm saying that out as it is. And
Yep.
how I see it. They failed us.
I agree. I work in the health system too, and I agree with that completely. She was failed. And we can't let it keep happening.
Or TV, you guys want to talk? Hi.
They're like, TV! Ah!
Help women that are in need after giving child and just our own here. So it's important to
Oh, there's a lot.
And what made you, how did you get involved in this case? Walk me through the beginning of this.
I was devastated the night that Lindsay was in court in shambles.
Can't hear her.
And all of these wonderful people.
Hey, you want to say something? We don't have too many men saying anything.
Oh, I love this.
I'm here supporting my wife, Renee Kimball. She's the one that put this all together. I'm the man that holds it.
Holding the stuff.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I'm here to support Mrs. Clancy too, and hopefully she gets the help she needs and justice.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm from Acushnet, Mass. My name is Amy. I'm also a mental health worker for 15 years, and I'm here to support Lindsay, her children, and I hope she gets the help she needs. Massachusetts failed her, and we need to stand and show people that mental illness is a serious thing, and more women need support.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Massachusetts, go Bills. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Looks like a nice day in Massachusetts today. Oh, he's trying to do it again? Hey, stop it. They're telling on you, thank goodness. You need a chew toy. I would have loved to have gone there with my microphone. Hi, I'm Kathy with Chatting with Kathy. Why are you here?
case, the Stanford virtual case, the Just on Route case. And right
Dr.
now
Phil.
we're trying to get the Norfolk VA
Get down.
election is coming up with Adam Dyke.
And again, I think some of this is political too. Bringing her, not them, but the DA. I wonder how many people are there. Looks like a pretty good crowd. Thank you. He's already making me tired. I bet you more. I bet they do it again during jury deliberations or something, huh? Do you think more people are going to come? Once you start something like this, it grows, you know? I mean, I think you don't have to have one or the other. I don't think you have to be, I'm in support of the kids and not Lindsay. I think it can be both. Based on if you believe it was premeditated murder, that she literally planned it and decided she didn't want to be a mom anymore and killed her kids out of some hate, or if you believe that she was affected by a mental health defect that caused this. I guess that's what you have to decide. I don't think the prosecution's proven anything, but we'll see. I guess they still have expert witnesses that are going to come up. Yeah, he's being crazy right now. I have some chew toys, but Percy's going to pretend that he owns them. No, I don't think they've proven it either. I told you, I was hoping, not hoping they would, but I was expecting, because they took it to trial, that there would be something more. I was expecting it because they took it to trial. Like, they have to have something more. More child pictures. Oh, for sure. They're going to put pictures. I guarantee you're right. Let me put this on pause for a second. I want to read something. So, I was looking up statistics, women's health ignored in the USA. Only 6% of private healthcare capital in the United States and globally is spent on conditions affecting women. Out of the minimal capital spent on women's health, 90% goes to just 3 categories: maternal health, reproductive health, and women's cancers. Non-reproductive conditions that disproportionately or uniquely affect women, such as autoimmune diseases, which affect women at a rate of 80%, receive a fraction of research funds. Overall investment, only about 7% of overall healthcare research is invested in conditions that exclusively affect women. Until the NIH Revitalization Act passed in 1993, women were largely excluded from clinical trials, meaning decades of drug dose. 1993. That's not, I mean, I was having my babies in 1993. It passed in 19. Women were largely excluded from clinical trials, meaning decades of drug dosages and symptom definitions were modeled around male biology. A recent analysis found that only 7% of clinical trials for shared conditions like migraines published disaggregated results. Because testing historically centered on male subjects, women face higher rates of adverse drug reactions, which could be an effect here with the antipsychotics, you know, the Seroquel, everything that they gave her. So because testing historically centered on male subjects, women face higher rates of adverse drug reactions and misinterpreted symptoms. The United States leads high-income nations in maternal mortality, recording an average of 22 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Terrible. Approximately 51% of adults reporting delayed or foregone medical care due to the non-financial or financial burden barriers are female. American women face the highest rates of avoidable deaths, 270 per 100,000, and lower overall healthy life expectancy compared to peers in other wealthy nations. Before 1993, women were rarely included in clinical trials. Is that crazy? Our biology is so different. Today, the medical field still doesn't know how well many drugs and devices work for women. Throughout history, doctors have considered women's bodies atypical and men's bodies the norm. Despite women accounting for nearly half the global population and outnumbering men in the United States since 1946. Though policy and social changes in the 1990s have helped turn the tide, women remain underrepresented in research, sometimes grossly so. Many medical researchers even avoid conducting studies on female mice due to greater costs associated with purchasing and housing both sexes, and concerns that fluctuating hormones and reproductive systems of female mice might confound the study results. This is wild. Women were already poorly represented in medical research before the 1970s, but progress in researching drugs and medical devices in women was further set back in 1977 when the Food and Drug Administration created a policy to exclude women of reproductive potential from phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials unless they had a life-threatening condition. It's wild. There's a lot here. So, interesting. I'm amazed. Okay, let me see where you guys are at here. Court on lunch. They're over for the day, so we'll get to them because it was a short day. So I'm kind of focusing a little bit on this stuff. This is a very weak case to bring to trial. The state has already rested, so we have already seen their best evidence, right? And then they're going to bring rebuttal witnesses, right? Yeah. They only have one witness today. I'll play it. Go lay down. What'd you do? You threw the pillow off the bed. Good. Okay. This goes for a while. At some point when you're ready, you might want to fast forward to the point where you see Reddington being interviewed. Okay. And then you'll see Lindsay's prison van arrive. Okay, let's do that. Thank you. Let's do that. Because it's all the same. Oh, here he is. Okay, let's go right here. Here they come. Thank you. They're waiting. It's Bloody Mary time. It's pre Friday Eve. Sounds like it. At least there is a witness. There is some witnesses tomorrow. Here it goes.
Moving for them. They don't forget it.
Mr. Reddington, what's your message to all these folks who are here today?
Thank you. That's all I can say. It's amazing.
We love you, Kevin.
Kevin, are you surprised at just how much attention this case has gotten? I mean, people are coming from Maine.
It's the message. It really is. It's the message that just has reverberated, throughout the whole country.
What is that
Reddington's
message?
fighting for women's rights.
No, I
for
don't.
healthcare.
I think that it's the mental health system. I hate to use the word health care because unfortunately in this case we can see it hasn't been health care. And I think that it shines a light on this issue. I mean, when a woman is going through what so many people do and they go to a doctor and the doctor says, you know, here, take this pill, take that pill, take this pill, and then they basically treat them for 15, 20 minutes and send them on their way. It's just not right.
And to those who can't wrap their heads around sympathizing with a mother who killed her 3 children, what do you say to them?
I think it's almost like when you're picking a jury and sometimes somebody will say, well, I don't agree with, you know, this allegation of murder. I mean, none of us do. But that's what we have juries for. They pass between the government and the defendant to see if they can prove their case.
Is she aware of this support, and what does she think of this support?
I'm going to go in and see her right now. I'm sure that she is, and if she isn't, she will be.
What do you think about?
She's so beat up and just so sad. This will really help her out, I think. It's awesome.
Tell her we love her. What do you think about you being the advocate for all women right now?
I'm not an advocate.
You are. But you are. But you are.
Oh, there's Bob Mata. Bob Mata's with him right there. Right? Isn't that Bob? I think so. Whoa.
I did. I was like, oh, I got all the wedding stuff done yesterday.
So now we're waiting for Lindsay's van to arrive, I think. Right?
Did you notice that they?
Thank you.
No. Yeah. So the two.
They rolled. I missed it. Did they roll down the window?
Did she say that?
I heard somebody saying that. Very cool. Awesome. All right, let's go. I guess that's that, right? Yeah, that's what I heard. So let me get this down and then we can go to the trial. Let's see if I can, this should be on here too, right? I just don't want to do any other their news people interviewing themselves. Okay. Let's share again. Okay. Oops, let me do this. Here are things on this page. The black van is the prison van with Lindsay inside. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Okay, let's see here. What we got? Should be starting. Interesting. I'm glad that there's support out there and awareness. That's all we need. I mean, we need more, but that's huge. That's huge. My daughter says that's super cool. She's in Hawaii, so she's a little earlier, 3 hours earlier than here. So 7 a.m. And then she said her attorney is awesome. So Ryan likes her, Lindsay's attorney. All right. What's going on? Come on. All right, here we go. Might want to hit play, Kathy. Oh, yeah, might. They don't have audio, do they? I didn't turn off the audio, did I? No, my audio's on. Hold on. Oh. Where's the audio? Now we went back to nothing happening. Oh my God. Okay, let's try this right here. Court's on a short break already. Okay. And we don't even know what they said. Oh God. All right. Anybody see this morning? There we go. I hear audio now. My goodness.
This court is back in session. Please be seated.
All right. Counsel, we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Breathe in.
I think because, hold on. I was listening to Defense Diaries, and they said because they believe somebody asked him why he didn't. And he goes, why would I want to do this all over again? So they believe they were actually winning the case. So I think that's why they were like, well, we're not going to gamble on that and have to do this all over again. Because now, you know, the prosecution probably put forth a better case too if they knew they were screwing it up. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they think they're doing good enough to win. And, you know, they can see the jurors. So that's what I'm thinking. They may think they're ahead of the game on this to win. So why start over? Right. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. If they could do it without prejudice, then they probably would, but that would be like the distinction. Yeah, that would have to be the disclaimer. Okay, I'm going to call a mistrial only if you'll say without prejudice, right? So it can't be retried again. This is done. But like Ed said, I don't think the judge will do it that way. I mean, there's still so many people that think this was premeditated murder. It just blows my mind because the problem with people is they would be terrible jurors. A lot of the people that are watching that are like, I feel I had postpartum depression and I didn't kill my kids, instead of like really understanding what happens with that, education, getting like there's so much information, you can research it. Thank God you didn't kill anybody when you had postpartum depression, which isn't postpartum psychosis, by the way. And I keep reading that on these message boards, and it's like, I had to leave a couple of them that I just kind of scroll on Facebook to see what people are thinking. And then I add my 2 cents, and then I'm like, I can't even. And they're like, okay, dummy to me. I'm like, could you reply? Because I don't tell most of them. I don't tell them that what I know, what I do, and that I'm a creator. I'm not telling those people. I don't want them in here trolling us because they're hateful, So yeah. But there's a lot of people out there like, I was telling my friend last night, and I said this to you guys yesterday, I had 4 pregnancies and I didn't have a C-section, so nobody should, right? I had an appendectomy when I was 8 years old, so everyone should, I had postpartum depression and I was fine with, Zoloft or whatever. Then everybody should be, right? Yeah. I understand they have a job to do, but they seem to be taking this more personal than they need. I agree too. I think they're taking it too personal, and I think they're not being professional, especially with the whole Bo thing, No, I'm sure they're not happy with the protesters at all. Lindsay looks good today. I'm sure somebody online will say, oh, look, now she's wearing makeup. She doesn't have any remorse. Now she saw the protesters, so now she thinks she's, But the problem is people need to understand how a court of law works. It's about the evidence. You can feel any way you want, but you can't decide by your feelings. There we go again with the bang, bang, bang. Sounds like guns.
The Honorable William Sullivan, Justice of the Superior Court, now sitting in Plymouth, within the Commonwealth. Draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is now in session. Please be seated.
Yes.
Dude, I want a gavel. Get down.
Lindsay Clancy is present. She is represented by Attorney Kevin Reddington. The Commonwealth is represented by Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Sprague and Assistant District Attorney Shannon Hutton.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yeah, right.
Good morning,
Don't they still wear those in the
See you
UK?
again, I know I just spoke to you probably about 10 minutes ago. But again, I want to ask you those questions, then we'll talk a little bit about what our schedule is today and for the rest of the week. All right, so first question, has any member of the jury read, seen, heard, or overheard anything from any source about any aspect of this case that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial as a juror? Next, is there any other serious matter or concern bearing on your service as a juror that anybody needs to bring to my attention at this time? All right, again, thank you for following those instructions. And then in regards to our schedule today, you're allowed to kind of roll your eyes because I'm going to say we're going to have kind of a short day today. All right. And that is, as I talked to you yesterday about an issue that has nothing to do with any of the attorneys in this case. All right. It's just something we're going to work out and I anticipate it will be worked out so that tomorrow you should count on a lengthier day. All right.
What is going on?
Council earlier this morning in regards to where we are in regards to the schedule and the timeline.
Weird.
We are still, if not on schedule, still ahead of schedule. All right. And this delay that we may have a little bit this afternoon won't affect that. All right. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that I appreciate it. I know you came in here this morning. It's going to be a short day, but also gear up for a longer day tomorrow. Okay. And so with that, the other thing is I told you, it's got nothing to do with any of the attorneys, but it's also or the parties. So you're not to speculate about what this might be. It's also you're not to hold it against either of the parties in regards to this. All right. If you're going to hold it against anybody, you can hold it against me. All right. So with that, we're going to return now to the evidence in this case. And Attorney Reddington.
Thank you. Sheila Kavanaugh, please.
Right. It's nothing you should be concerned about, blah, 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 but we're having a little issue. I'm curious. But like Ed said, it's 3 for 1 at the Tiki Bar for Bloody Marys from noon to 4. Oh, kidding, right? Pretending we're kidding.
Good morning. Just face Madam Clerk, raise your right hand.
The testimony of the evidence you submit to the court. Sorry, the not coming between the Commonwealth and the whole
I'm noticing that, I don't know where this person's from, but I'm noticing there's a lot of big hair still going on back there in the East Coast. Oh, this is a minister. Is this the one that saw her when she first woke up and said she heard voices? Okie dokie, let's see.
All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right. I just ask you to speak into that microphone and keep your voice up so the jury can hear you. Attorney Reddington.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you tell us your name and spell your last name, please?
My name is Sheila Kavanaugh, Cavanaughh.
And what town do you live in?
I live in the town of Belmont, Massachusetts.
And what are you doing for work now?
I am a board certified chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston.
And I didn't know that there were board certified chaplains. What does that mean?
Well, to become board certified, you need minimally a master's degree in theology or divinity. You need to complete 1,600 hours of training post your master's degree. 1,200 of those hours are occur in a clinical setting, and 400 of those hours are in a classroom setting where we study various disciplines: psychology, sociology, philosophy, theology, and ethics. Beyond that training, we need to acquire 2,000 hours of additional clinical training before we can even apply for board certification. And we have to demonstrate mastery of 30 competencies before we go to a national board and they make the assessment. I also need an ecclesiastical endorsement. And in my case, that was from the Archdiocese of Boston, from Cardinal Sean O'Malley.
That's amazing.
And before you obtained the board certification in your education to allow you to be a chaplain, what did you do for work?
Prior to becoming a chaplain, which is a second career for me, I was a senior vice president at Fidelity Investments in Boston.
And how long were you senior VP at Fidelity?
16 years.
And are you married?
I am.
You have a family?
I do. My husband and I are the parents of 4 adopted children. When I was pursuing my master's degree at Boston College, it was a 3-year master's, but it took me 5 years because we adopted our 4th child while I was in graduate school. She was a 14-year-old girl from Bogota, Colombia.
And how long have you been working now as a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital?
7 years.
In the course of your duties as a chaplain at Brigham and Women's Hospital, did circumstances bring you in contact with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes, they did.
Can you tell the jurors what happened?
I arrived on the morning of Wednesday, January 25th, 2023. I arrived at approximately 8:30 that morning because I was there to relieve the overnight chaplain who was carrying the pager. I was taking over the pager shift, which went from 9 to 1 p.m., although I was working a full day. When I arrived that morning, she said to me, "Did you hear the news?" And
So
Sustain.
Okay.
So you got to object, so you can't say what someone told you, okay? That's called hearsay?
Okay.
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 So I can say, as a result of the conversation with that person, what happened?
I was summoned to the director of spiritual care's office.
Did you have a conversation with her?
I did.
All right. And as a result of that conversation, what did you do?
I went to Unit 8C in the Tower building of Brigham to meet with Lindsay Clancy.
And what time of day was this?
Roughly between 8:30 and 9:30 that morning.
And when you went in to see Lindsay, what did you observe?
Well, the unit itself was filled with law enforcement officers, both outside the doors of the unit. There was Brigham security, but the unit itself was flooded. There were people from Plymouth County, Boston City Police, Brigham security. So I had to make my way through concentric circles of law enforcement to even get to the room. I was permitted to see Lindsay, although she could not speak at that time.
And what was her condition that you observed?
She was dressed in medical armor. She had tubes. She was intubated. She had bandages. She had a neck brace. She was just covered and layered in equipment that enabled her to breathe.
I'm showing you Exhibit 121 and asking, this may be South Shore, or it could be Brigham and Women's, but is this indicative of what she appeared to be when you first saw her?
That looks like it's from South Shore because yes.
Did she have the same?
Similar.
Very similar?
Very similar.
Like that?
Yes, very similar.
Did you see her again on another date?
I did. I saw her the next day. Again, she could not speak. She was intubated as well. That was the first week that she was hospitalized.
When was the next time that you saw her?
The next time I saw her was the following week. I have a calendar here of my visits. I saw her on Tuesday, January 31st, and she had been extubated at that point so she could speak.
So the tube had been removed. She was able to communicate, and that was on January 31st?
I believe she was extubated the weekend of the 28th, but I didn't work that weekend, so I saw her on Tuesday, the 31st.
All right. Tell the jurors what you observed and what, if any, conversation you had with Lindsay on the 31st. And let me ask you, how long had it been that they removed the tube?
Perhaps a day or two.
A day or two, okay. Tell the jurors what she said to you.
She continued to look like the photograph you just saw. She was covered, tubes everywhere, the neck brace. Her emotional state was very neutral, a flat affect. But I remember vividly the first thing she said to me. Now, she had heard me for a couple of days. We had been praying together. And so when I went in on Tuesday, the 31st, she said to me as I held her hand to comfort her, "I am so glad my children are safe."
Was there any other conversation that you had with her?
I replied theologically to Lindsay and I said, "Lindsay, your children are safe. They're safe in heaven with God." And I held her hand throughout that conversation and we prayed for them.
Did she make any other statements to you?
She did. She alluded to having heard a voice. And the voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command neither she nor her children would be safe.
And did she indicate whether it was a male voice, a female voice, loud, soft?
She alluded to the fact that it was a male voice and it was persistent.
Any further conversation that you recall about that, not about general things, you know?
That came up several times. I visited Lindsay minimally 14 times while she was hospitalized at the Brigham, and the voice conversation came up several times during several of our visits.
Now, after Lindsay was transferred or cleared to go from Brigham and Women's Hospital, did she go to another facility?
She did. She went to Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital.
And do you know when that was?
That was roughly late February, perhaps around the 23rd.
And did you continue to see Lindsay at Spalding Rehab?
I did.
Do you know when she left Spalding Rehab?
In the late March, early April time frame, perhaps.
Okay. Now, Brigham and Women's Hospital and Spalding Rehab are under the same umbrella of hospitals. Is that right?
They are. So Brigham and Women's Hospital and Spalding Rehab are under the Mass General Brigham complex. So for me to visit Lindsay in Spalding, I was still within the same hospital complex, and her psychiatrist at Spalding, as well as the chaplains, advised me to continue.
You can't say what anybody told me.
Oh,
So when she was discharged from Spalding Rehab, where did she go?
She went to Tewksbury State Hospital.
And fair to say that would be back around February. It's been a little more than 3 years, 3.5 years.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, when you saw her in Spalding Rehab and in Brigham and Women's, you were acting in the course of your job. Is that right?
That's correct.
So you're being compensated, you're getting your paycheck and that type of thing.
Yes.
How many times have you seen Lindsay at Tewksbury Hospital?
Perhaps 200 times.
Tell the jury why you continue to see her for 200.
Sustained.
So can you tell us how often on a weekly basis you would see her at Tewksbury?
Yes. When Lindsay was admitted to Tewksbury State Hospital, I continued to see her on a weekly basis. We had built up a very comfortable, respectful rapport, and I felt it was in her best interest to continue that as she healed. She was still in deep grief. She was suffering.
Sustained.
So
that opinion will be stricken.
So did she express anything about her children and their loss over that period of 200 times that you saw her thereabouts in Tewksbury?
Objection.
No, overruled.
Yes.
Other jurors?
Lindsay talks frequently about her children. She loves them deeply. She carries immense grief.
Objection.
Overruled. Next question.
And has that continued to your observation?
It continues presently.
When was the last time that you saw Lindsay in Tewksbury?
Just prior to the trial starting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Kamal.
Thank you. Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning.
You were talking about on January 25th, 2023, when you first saw Lindsay in direct examination, and you said that there were a lot of police officers in the area, correct?
Correct.
But you mentioned that some of them were security personnel from the hospital, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that the security personnel for the hospital don't work for the state police, the Duxbury Police, or the Plymouth County DA's office, correct?
Correct.
So they're separate and apart from law enforcement, correct?
Yes.
And then are you also aware that on January 25th, 2023, there was a search warrant being executed to collect evidence from the defendant and from the belongings that she had at the hospital?
No, I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that that collection of the search warrant required state police and personnel from the crime lab to be present for the collection of evidence?
I was not aware of that.
Were you aware that following that, at any given time, there were only 2 officers, either Duxbury Police, State Police, or Plymouth County Sheriffs, at her room, the defendant's room, at any given time?
I do recall that.
And they were stationed outside of her room, correct, in the hallway?
Yes.
So that the only time you saw this large amount of officers present was on the 25th, when there were security from the hospital and search warrants being executed, correct?
Perhaps.
Now, you mentioned that on January 31st, 2023, you spoke to the defendant and she told you that she heard a voice telling her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe, correct?
Correct.
You wrote very detailed notes that are contained in the Brigham and Women's Hospital records regarding your interactions with Lindsay Clancy, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And in all of these notes that detail every time you interacted with her, you never once wrote that she told you she heard a voice or what that voice said, correct?
Correct.
And you also said that this voice, talking about the voice, came up in several of your meetings, correct?
Correct.
And you never once wrote about any of it in any of your very detailed notes, correct?
Well, chaplain notes are not verbatim transcripts of patient conversations. I'm not there to evaluate the patient. I'm there to bear witness to their suffering.
Okay, but the question was, you did not document those statements in your notes, correct?
Correct.
But you did document some other statements in those notes, correct?
Perhaps.
For example, on February 6th, 2023, in a note that you wrote regarding your interaction with the defendant, you said that, or you wrote, Lindsay welcomed the visit and shared her fears of, quote, not being able to walk again, end quote. She continued to express her fears of how her inability to walk may make her vulnerable to others in the future. Do you recall writing that?
Yes.
Do you recall writing on February 9th, 2023, that the defendant was sitting in a chair adjacent to her bed and appeared to be visibly engaged, energized, and hopeful than in previous visits? Do you recall that?
Yes.
You also wrote in that note, Lindsay spoke hopefully of being discharged when the time arrives to Spalding, correct?
Correct.
And then in February 13th, 2023, you wrote in your note that Lindsay also expressed hopefulness in relation to her physical progress. She feels she has gained considerable physical strength and agility despite an inability to move her legs. She admitted that she feels, quote, deserving of this, end quote, in light of recent events. Do you remember writing that?
Yes.
Do you remember on February 16th, 2023, that you wrote in a note that the defendant expressed hopefulness with the news of her anticipated discharge to Spalding and seemed uplifted that she would be cared for in a facility with an excellent reputation?
Yes.
Do you recall writing on February 16th, 2023, that Paula, the defendant's mother, and Lindsay, the defendant, were playing a card game as they communed quietly, and that Lindsay expressed hopefulness with the news of her anticipated discharge to Spalding and seemed uplifted?
Yes.
And again, you've got all these details about her feelings and her thoughts and what she's doing, but nothing about the voices that you spoke of so many times, correct?
Correct.
And speaking of Spalding, you continued to visit her at Spalding, correct?
Yes.
In those conversations with her at Spalding, did she tell you that how in those first weeks at Spalding, that part of her physical therapy, she was working out with a yellow exercise band? No?
I don't recall her telling me that.
Did she tell you that during that time at Spalding, she reached out to a social worker there and asked for help filling out SSDI paperwork to get an income?
That would be beyond the scope of our conversation.
She didn't tell you those things?
No.
Thank you.
So, counsel has asked you about her filling out a form for SSDI. Were you aware of what expenses her family and were incurring as a result of her physical incapacity, paralysis, and being in the hospital?
From my experience with thousands of patients, I had a very clear idea of the enormous expense.
There's a difference between, as the district attorney very appropriately referred to, that your comments were about her thoughts and her appearance and her feelings. Is that correct?
Correct.
There's a difference, however, between privileged communications with a chaplain and observations of a person's feelings and thoughts, correct?
Correct.
Tell the jury what effect privileged communication has when someone talks to you personally as a chaplain.
Because I'm not a medically trained clinician, I approach patients in a vortex of trust. Some of our chaplains at the Brigham are ordained clergy. And so there's this understanding that when a patient interacts with a chaplain, the conversations are confidential.
Do you put them in medical records?
No.
The words, like Lindsay indicated that she felt uplifted, I think the counsel read that twice. Were those your notes, or is that what she said to you? Did she say, "I feel uplifted," or is that
That
your
was my
observation?
perception of Lindsay. It was not her words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Como?
You said you're not allowed to put the defendant's words in your medical records. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. It's not that I'm not allowed. It's an understanding, and it's a conversation that's held in confidence with the patient.
Then why are there direct quotes in these medical records from the defendant?
Well, they're not verbatim transcripts.
No, not a transcript of the whole conversation, but you put phrases in quotes. For example, on February 6, 2023, where it says Lindsay welcomed the visit and shared her fears of, quote, not being able to walk again. So those were her words in your note, in quotes, in the medical record, correct?
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
I use my best judgment.
Okay. I would move to have these submitted as the next exhibit, the notes of the witness in her interactions with Ms. Clancy at the Brigham and Women's.
Any objection? No. All right. They may be admitted.
I have no further questions. Sorry.
Hey, Mr. Reddington, go ahead.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. May you step down. All right, counsel, could I see you?
Yeah, I'm sure, obviously, you know, disability. I don't know if Massachusetts has state disability insurance, but I pay into it on my check every single day, every paycheck. And that's why when you go out on a medical leave, the state will pay you for an entire year. Short-term disability through California. So that's how I survived this whole last since December, been on state disability. And a provider has to agree to it and sign off on it and recertify it every so often that you're still unable to work your normal job. And your normal job as a nurse is like, yeah, can't do that. Interesting though. I mean, I can understand SSDI is federal. Yeah, that is federal because it's, that's like permanent disability, right? SSDI. But there's short-term disability through certain states. And I think there's only a few states that have it. California is one of them. I have to say, though, I'm surprised she would even touch an exercise band again. Yeah. Wild. But when did she become more clear in her head? I don't know. Wild. But yeah. But like you said, you can't, how much, what can you do to exercise when you're freaking paralyzed from the sternum down? Not a whole lot of options. Yeah, I do understand why the chaplain would not put those type of things in her note because she's not a clinician. I can understand why she probably put more of the physical stuff in her note instead of like the deep conversation about the children and what happened. I can see that. She's not, she's not her therapist. She's not making notes about what they talk in confidence about. Be like going to confession and the priest coming out and telling people what you say. I think that's pretty protected, right? The prosecutor looks pretty proud of herself when she went back to her seat. Yeah, and then there's more than one person that has said that about the voices, though, so we'll see. What's his name? Zeisel, when she told Patrick that, said it. This lady said it. Her mom and Patrick kind of said it without saying it. Oh, of course, yeah. I'm sure. It's not just like a retirement Social Security, it's your SSDI, right? It's
I told you it was going to be a short
Social
day,
Security
right?
Disability
And
Insurance,
I appreciate
SSDI.
your patience with us. So I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow at 9. All right? Same instructions. And that includes reading anything, talking about this case, watching anything. Just don't do it. All right? And when you leave here today, just drive, go home, wherever you're going to go.
Don't look out the window.
Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.
I see nobody.
The plan would be that it will be it will be a longer day than today. I appreciate you coming in here today. We moved the case a little bit today, and I appreciate that. So we're able to do that. So I hope everybody has a nice afternoon and evening. We'll see you tomorrow morning for a longer day. And just remember those instructions from the moment you leave to the moment you come here tomorrow. Okay? Again, thank you so much.
All right, please, Your Excellency.
The courtroom is closed in session. Please be seated.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll take a short break at this point. We'll come back. We'll do kind of a preliminary charge conference. We're going to which I know counsel knows, but for everybody else, discuss possible jury instructions, suggestions from counsel. Then we can talk about any logistical issues that we have for tomorrow, and then we'll probably recess at that point. All right, so this will be a short recess, and we'll come back up. Thank you.
Court, all rise.
Okay, hold on. Can you guys hear me okay? There's something going on here with this. I got a couple things to say. We'll zoom in a second. You guys can hear me because my earbuds just sit somewhere. Here's what my best friend said to me about what it's like to obey command hallucinations while accidentally doing what they say and not remembering it completely because it's like being hypnotized. Yeah, I believe that. And this is what my daughter had said about it. I'll read it again because it's from her professional opinion as a mental health professional. She said something very similar. She's like, go lay down, doggies. Okay. Why did you do that? Where is it? It's further back, I guess. She said, if she was in actual psychosis, 0% of her was aware of reality. Psychosis is all consuming, and whatever the reality that she came into was the only reality that existed to her. Given she had tried so many meds, tells me it was very real. If she had a different diagnosis like antisocial personality disorder, you could say it was deliberate. Even in psychosis, you can use the internet and the tools at your disposal. People in psychosis have no control over themselves in a reality-based way. I think of it as being her body performing the actions, but her mind being in control, which makes perfect sense to what you're saying, whoever. If I was on a jury as a mental health professional, I would not convict her as guilty. Her punishment is having to live with what happened for the rest of her life and who people believe she is. She will have to fight to become stable in many ways, and that seems like a sentence enough for something that was out of her control. People don't get the nuance and what is really happening. Murder is murder, sure, but the question is, did she, as her normal self, choose murder, or did her disease choose it for her? No one would tell someone with cancer going through chemo it was their fault they lost their hair. The disease and treatment did it. This is just like that. All right, stop. What is the matter with you two? My God. So yeah, makes sense what your friend said too. Kind of goes along the same lines. So sad. Seems like there is a circus going on back here. Seems like a lot of effort to get everyone there, especially Lindsay, just to send them home. I know, weird, right? There's some weird stiff. I know, they're insane right now. Stop. Okay. Stop. I'm going to put you guys outside. I know, they're not right now. The state ladies are so abusive. Yeah, that's it. Just one witness today. Come here. Sit down. Sit down. How about a snack? You guys are being crazy right now. Sit down. No. Not the treats here, but it's not going to stop them from. Sit down. Sit. Sit down. Dr. Phil, sit your butt down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit. Thank you. Okay, can you guys go take a nap now? Big contrast between the major energy outside the courthouse and the sputtering winding down inside the actual courtroom. My best friend says some similar things too. Even when her rational mind can understand it doesn't make sense, she cannot believe it. So crazy, right? It's just such a weird thing. They're playing. I know. Yeah. I know. It's like these dogs. They are playing. They were playing, but maybe the treat kind of broke it up for a second. They have the zoomies. Yep. All that for one witness. Dr. Phil gave Percy a whole new lease on life. I know. And Percy, the other day they were wrestling like that. I have to cut it off because Percy's like, for half an hour, his little smushed in face was having a hard time getting his normal breathing back. Right. All right. Let's see where they go. They're going to come back to here, but it's just like judge lawyer stuff. Okay, everybody go lay down now. It's nap time. Where are we? I'm bummed. I wish tomorrow was the shorter day because I have to drive to Orange County tomorrow on Friday traffic. It'd have been nice for tomorrow to be short and today to be longer. Friday should be the short day when you have a short day. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Let's see what we're doing here.
Counsel, what we kind of wanted to do is at least have a preliminary discussion regarding instructions. And what I would generally do is after we have the discussion is then kind of distribute a draft to council so we could have a more focused
I know.
charge conference next day or so, but I just kind of wanted to get everybody's thoughts or kind of suggestions that they.
My brother drove out here last Friday. Was it last Friday? On Friday night, or was it past? I don't know. Or whatever. He came from Northridge. It took him 4.5 hours to get here. It's like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. You know how far you can go in 4.5 hours other places?
Would be seeking the court to instruct the jury on. So kind of what I'll be using will be the model jury instructions.
Let's go to 1.5.
Generally, the model jury instructions from the March 2026, the latest suggestions from the SJC. And so Commonwealth, let me kind of hear what your thoughts are, and then I'll hear from the defendant.
So for individual instructions, we have listed opinion testimony, prior inconsistent and prior consistent statements, redactions. I don't think there are too many, but there were some on the death certificates, stipulations, and consciousness of guilt instruction. In terms of what we're looking for for the charges, we'd be looking for an instruction on first and second, with the theories of first being both deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty. In terms of the criminal responsibility instruction, we're asking that the instruction regarding intoxication not be given, because from our perspective, there's been no evidence of intoxication by drugs and or alcohol during the killings. There's testimony, and I think there'll be more testimony about the defendant taking pills after killing the children. And before killing the children, she was on low dose prescription, 10 milligrams of amitriptyline that was recently increased to 20 milligrams, but there's no real evidence of whether or not she actually increased that dose. And then it was a low dose of trazodone and a low dose of, I believe, Valium. So those were prescribed medications that she had reported no side effects from. And I believe in the text with her mother, she said that she was still waiting to actually feel effects from those. So
I know, and out to the desert and stuff when it's hot out here this time of year. But also from this way, people go to the beach for the weekend. So we're screwed no matter which way you're going.
There's no evidence of intoxication from those drugs. And then the only intoxication potentially could be when she took pills after killing the children. And even those amounts from the toxicology are low-level amounts. So we're asking that the instruction on intoxication not be given.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask the defendant as well, because I did read through those. And I was trying to find the definition of intoxication as it applies in the homicide instructions. Most of the cases that I was able to find so far is the dealing with the OUI statute, Chapter 90, and trying to find the real definition in regards to that. Is it the Commonwealth position?
Sorry, I always think about that too. Like before I leave to go anywhere in my car, after living in Southern California for so long, I'm like, I better pee first, because you never know. You never know. Like you think, oh, it's only a 10-minute drive, or I'm only going, a couple miles up the freeway, and then boom, you're like stopped. And you guys, our freeways are what? They're like 10 lanes now, right? And like the 405. I mean, I'm off the 10, so I'm out here. That's like 3 on each side, but they're just so big, and it doesn't matter. They're still bumper to bumper. You can have 10 lanes. They can add 12 more lanes. We'd probably still be bumper to bumper. There's so many people. There was an accident in that case, and I got to watch a helicopter land further up on the freeway. Oh, wow. Yep.
That the intoxication is beyond what was the considered effect of the drugs. Because if you know what I'm saying? So if she takes, if a defendant, I don't mean to personalize it, if a defendant takes prescription drugs and it does create some effect, would that be considered intoxicated for the instruction?
I don't believe so. I think in the instructions it talks about having being intoxicated to the point where it affects your state of mind or ability to control yourself. I think intoxication, especially where there's not a specific definition given in the homicide instructions, I think you go to the general definition of intoxication, which would not just be taking medication as prescribed, but it would be over taking medication or combining with alcohol or other drugs, is similar to the instructions in OUIs, operating under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I think you would have to go to that definition or to the general definition of intoxication if it's not specifically defined in the instructions. And I think the general definition of intoxication is taking some type of substance, either alcohol, drugs, medication, in excess, and to the point where it's affecting your ability to think and to act and to control your behavior.
All right. All right. Anything? So I've got opinion, prior, consistent, prior, inconsistent, redaction, stipulations, consciousness of guilt, first, second, extreme atrocity, deliberate premeditation, and the criminal responsibilities without the subparagraph, the paragraph regarding intoxication.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Mr. Reddington?
I don't know if the government has been listening to the same evidence in this case. This is clearly an involuntary intoxication defense, at least as far as the judge's charge to the jury, based upon the evidence that's been presented, whether or not it's what we would argue is the over prescription of the medications, whether or not it's the side effects of the medications, whether or not it's the titration or the termination or the immediate cessation of the medications against what normal medical advice would be. All of those factors contribute to the state of mind of Ms. Clancy that was expressed to a lot of people, family members, people that knew her. She had indicated, I think Your Honor knows the evidence, repeatedly indicated that she was affected by the benzos. She was affected, felt that she was being addicted to the benzos, trying to get off the benzos. She indicated that the sertraline was obviously killing her as far as going from 25 to 50 milligrams. And then subsequent to that, when there's additional SSRIs prescribed, to suggest that there's no basis to give the jury the instruction, they may determine based on the evidence that is as a result of the involuntary intoxication from narcotics, not alcohol, obviously, from the prescribed narcotics, not illegal drugs. So from the prescription drugs, that's on all fours with a valid defense that they should be instructed as it relates to involuntary intoxication. I think it's the model jury instructions on criminal responsibility. Obviously, if there's any nuances that I would pick up, I would bring that to the court's attention. But I have tried murder case recently with the model jury instructions, and my memory is that I was pretty satisfied with Judge O'Shea, I think, actually in this court a year ago, and I was satisfied with the instructions on lack of criminal responsibility. I would at some point ask the court to charge on involuntary manslaughter. I'd ask the court to charge on wanton conduct with a component of the impact of the intoxication. So you can't try this case in a vacuum. You can't present the case to the jury. I know the government would like to present the case only on cruelty and atrocity. They probably don't like the statute that allows a jury to determine the degree of murder, which would be first and second. But I think that the evidence is such that a jury should have the option of considering whether or not we're talking about involuntary manslaughter based upon the evidence that's permitted. So I would defer to the court on the instructions on cruelty and atrocity, premeditated malice aforethought, second degree malice. I would ask the court to consider instructing on involuntary intoxication, to consider on the involuntary manslaughter as a lesser offense, and anything else that I can think of. But right now, that's what I can think of.
All right. Yeah, counsel.
Thank you. Commonwealth did request first and second degree instructions. It's our position that involuntary manslaughter wouldn't apply here. The evidence is that there was a specific intent to cause the death. So there's nothing that I can think of in the involuntary instruction that would apply here. Going back to the intoxication just for a moment.
Sure.
All of the medications, most of the medications that defense counsel talked about that the defendant was having reactions to and side effects from were before her hospitalization at McLean Hospital. And she was weaned off of that last one, the Seroquel, that while she was in McLean Hospital, and then she was without those medications and they're out of her system for 3 weeks, and she's just on those other 3 medications. So the intoxication that matters is not what happened in the fall and before McLean, it's what happened on the day of the incident. It's similar if it's an OUI, it doesn't matter if you were drunk in November, it matters if you're drunk on the date of the incident. So what matters here is that January 24th, 2023, and those other drugs and the effects that they caused to her aren't relevant to what happened on that day, as they've been out of her system for at least 3 weeks at that point.
All right. So the Commonwealth's position would be that the relevant analysis is what she was taking on or around that January 24th?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Sure.
It's occurred to me, again, as I said, it's only fresh in my mind from a case I had here last year. I know the model jury instructions indicate, and I'm trying to find it in here, that they're supposed to be consideration of a chalk for the court to write out the elements of the offense of first-degree murder, cruelty and atrocity, premeditated malice, aforethought, etc. And I would ask that you not do that. I don't think that it's appropriate. I think it highlights, if you will, in simplistic terms, premeditated malice, aforethought. I think you and I, we just had a murder case last year on another matter. And I mean, I heard your instructions. You're very forceful with the elements of the offense. And I just don't think we need to have this appendix or whatever you want to call it. And again, I did object to that with the Judge O'Shea. We did not submit the instruction list, cookbook, or whatever you want to call it, to the jury. So I think that the court's instructions would be sufficient. I would not want to have that chalk that is referenced in the model instructions. That's discretionary. It's not obligated. They just say that it might be helpful for the court to give the jury some type of a checklist. But I don't think we should reduce instructions on a murder case to a checklist. And I'm just afraid that what happens is that jurors then take the checklist, as it were, and they kind of look at it or consider it, and they just do exactly that as a checklist. So I would ask that you not do that.
All right, just so counsel, my general practice is not to have that kind of list. I generally don't, but I also generally will provide a copy of the instructions to each juror. So they'll have their own full copy and they can follow along because the three of you know they're lengthy and kind of dry. So they'll have those with them. But I'll like I said, I generally don't do that chart. All right. So anything else in regards to the instructions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So my plan would be to have at least a rough draft available for counsel tomorrow. So you at least have that. And depending on the timing and where we go in regards to the actual closings, we'll have the opportunity for you to review those, go over the draft, and then any kind of objections or suggestions you want to make, we'll have a chance to do that. But so you'll have, again, it's a rough draft. That's all I can tell you. And nothing's in stone, but at least give you an idea kind of where I'm coming from.
Do you think, logistically, Your Honor, that with the presentation of Dr. Resnick and then the government having their three doctors, hopefully we finish the evidence tomorrow, we will be closing Monday?
I would expect either Monday or Tuesday. If the parties may need, we could talk about that. But, my old experience, there's been a lot of evidence and there's a lot of witnesses. And so if the parties feel that they need like a day to kind of marshal their thoughts, we could talk about that. So either probably Monday or Tuesday, we could talk about that tomorrow. All right. Anything else we need to address, you think?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And so tomorrow we'll be in recess until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Hopefully we'll start with Dr. Resnick and then, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, right. You just kind of looked at that. Oh, so that'll be the thought. And then we'll just kind of go from there. If the defendant rests, the Commonwealth can then present their witnesses. And if it's not done by Friday, it can go into Monday. And that may mean closings and charge on Tuesday.
Okay.
All right.
And Mr. Verino will be here, yes, to set up the Zoom.
So you're not going to trust me to set that up this time? I think that's a good move. All right. All right. So thank you, everyone. And so we'll be in recess until tomorrow.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Court, all rise.
All right. Oh my gosh, it looks so funny. Hold on. I'm going to share another video with you that I made about another one. I made this video, postpartum psychosis video, in 2020, 5 years ago. It was a Las Vegas mom, if you guys want to stick around and watch it. Las Vegas mom, Amanda Sharp Jefferson, was arrested for the murder of her 2 infant children. Was it a case of postpartum psychosis? The father, Jaquan Singleton, states he came home and found the 2 infants dead. He said Amanda was shushing him and told him their organs were worth a lot of money. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police arrested Amanda Sharp Jefferson, 26, on 2 counts of murder after 1-year-old Rose and 2-month-old Lily were found dead in an apartment near Desert and Road, Maryland Parkway, Las Vegas. Was this rage, or did Amanda Sharp Jefferson suffer from undiagnosed postpartum psychosis? So let's see what I had to say about this. Hold on. I'm going to share this with you. We can watch it. Hold on. All right, hold on. This was on Left Undone. If I can get it right here. Mm-hmm. All right. Hold on. What is happening? Hold on. All right, this I need to be quiet. Okay. Lord. Technical things are driving me nuts. Ugh. Okay, got it. All right, let's watch. Watch Kathy. I hate watching myself. So weird. Let's see what I have to say. I've watched this in years. Hold on. Let's get rid of all this crap. Okay. Oh, nice face.
I have decided to make a series on something that I find really important and valuable, and making my channel worth more than just a crime channel, but a channel that does something good. I am, as I've said before, a registered nurse, and I specialize in high-risk pregnancy and OB. I think we don't pay enough attention to the possible scenarios that happen.
5 years ago, I made this.
To women after pregnancy, postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, and what the end result can be if it's not noticed. This story is extremely sad, and it's very up to date. It just happened last week. And a mother that became basically delusional winds up killing her 2 little tiny baby girls. Welcome to Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine. Let's talk about Amanda Sharp Jefferson, 26, of Las Vegas, Nevada.
My old intro.
Jefferson, 26, of Las Vegas, Nevada, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder on this past Friday, November 6th, in connection with the deaths of her 2 infant daughters. Her 1-year-old daughter, Rose Singleton, and 2-month-old baby by the name of Lily were found dead in Amanda's apartment. They were found dead around 12 o'clock noon last Friday, November 6th, 2020. The girl's father, Jaquan Singleton, found the precious little girls' bodies stacked on top of each other inside a bassinet type crib or swing. There's some counts called a swing, others a bassinet, on Friday, according to law enforcement. He told the police he asked Amanda why the girls' bodies were stacked on top of each other in the baby swing, in the bassinet, in the corner of the room. And he said she kept shushing him, like, shh, don't. And he was confused. At one point, Amanda told him that the children's organs were worth a lot of money. The couple had been together since 2018, and they hadn't had any issues until recently. Amanda started talking about the alter spirit world. Now, stick with me on this because I have a theory, which I think is probably correct, that we'll go into at the end of me explaining this horrible case to you.
This was the first year I had my channel, by the way.
When he went to check on the kids, he realized they weren't breathing and their bodies were cold. He told Las Vegas Fox 5 he found them dead in the apartment and he believed that the mother had drowned them. And she, to law enforcement in the arrest affidavit, claimed she didn't even have any children. And the father told police she was acting strange
a few weeks earlier, but seemed fine the night
That sounds
before
familiar.
this happened. He saw her the evening prior to the girls' bodies being discovered and said she was fine. The police in Las Vegas, they arrested Amanda Sharp Jefferson. She's 26 years old, and they did arrest her on 2 counts of murder. Her daughters were 1-year-old Rose and 2-month-old Lily. The apartment is in Las Vegas near Desert Inn Road and Maryland Parkway. Police said they received a 911 call from the father, and his name again is Jaquan Singleton, and they heard him say she drowned them. In the arrest affidavit, actually, it says she asked how much the children's body parts were worth, how much their organs were worth. She was granted a public defender, and a bail hearing was scheduled for November 12th. And they did schedule her preliminary hearing for 9 a.m. November 24th.
Mother accused of killing her 2 children appeared in court this morning. Clark County prosecutors say 26-year-old Amanda Sharp Jefferson drowned her victims and then denied knowing.
Hard to hear, sorry.
Amanda Sharp Jefferson
Bad audio.
2 counts of murder in the death of her 1-year-old Rose Singleton and her 2-month-old Lily Singleton. According to an arrest report, Jefferson told the children's father she drowned.
Mask on outside.
Both girls were discovered by their father, Jaquan Singleton. Singleton told police she was acting strange a few weeks earlier, but seemed fine when he saw her the evening prior. Police say Sharp Jefferson denied having any children and said someone must have put them in her apartment. At first, Sharp Jefferson was not in the courtroom. Her lawyer claimed that there was concerns about the reaction to the allegations. She eventually appeared and said she understood the charges and also understood the next date for her scheduled preliminary.
Masks.
I do not find that the concerns expressed, at least at this juncture, would outweigh the public's right to at least view electronically the arraignment.
Sharp Jefferson's lawyer also filed 2 motions. The first is to preserve evidence, the second regarding bail. Sharp Jefferson will return to court on November 24th. Reporting from the Regional Justice Center, Bianca Holman.
So, to back up a minute, Jaquan came home and he wound up saying he put his stuff away, and then he went to check on the kids and he was like, wow, that's weird. They're on top of each other. And he said it didn't hit him right away, but he touched one of them and they were cold. And then he realized that they were most likely dead. First, he called his mother, and then he called 911. The report says he can be heard asking Amanda, what did you do? And then he can be heard saying, what? And after a brief silence, he tells the 911 operator that she drowned them. He said she kept shushing me. At one point made a statement that the children's organs were worth a lot of money, according to the arrest report. Medical professionals arrived on scene and they did pronounce the babies dead at the scene.
As Amanda Sharp Jefferson sits behind bars tonight, accused of murdering her 2 babies, her husband and their father, Jaquan, told me he's just trying to stay positive.
Lily, hi, baby.
Aww.
We had them 11 months apart because we wanted them to be close and just grow together and just live forever.
Instead, the lives of 2-month-old Lily and 1-year-old Rose were tragically cut short.
Rose was my big juice and Lily was my brown sugar.
Jaquan Singleton told me he left them with their mom, Amanda Sharp Jefferson, Thursday night so he could be with his other daughter, Violet, at his grandmother's.
I see Rose, I see Amanda, I see Lily. Everything's good. I was like around 7-something. I'm giving them kisses. I give them hugs. I'm like, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
That was the last time he saw his 2 youngest daughters alive. When he got back to the apartment around noon on Friday,
I see Rose and Lily like over there.
He said they were in the living room, laying down. Rose was on top of Lily. Amanda was home.
Take this coat off, put it on my bed and stuff. And I'm like, but as I'm doing that, she's like, shh, shh, shh.
He said he thought they were asleep until
feel Lily's head. I'm like, She's kind of cold.
After a few minutes of trying to get a response, it clicked and he confronted Amanda.
I'm asking, like, what did you do to my daughter? What did you do to my daughter? And she's like, shh, shh.
Jaquan said he called his mom, then called 911. He said Amanda never did.
She's super calm, cool, and collective about it. Literally putting her clothes on, nothing, talking about can we sell the organs and stuff.
He told me he thinks the girls were drowned.
That day when I seen them, I died. I still feel dead. I feel blank. I'm numb.
In Amanda's arrest report, it said she told officers she didn't know Jaquan and denied having any children.
She was going through a spiritual, a spiritual and soul type of thing, where she thought she wasn't in this reality. She was in the spiritual and soul reality.
He said the spiritual side all started a few weeks ago.
Postpartum psychosis.
Like me not coming back that night got to her.
Despite what his wife is accused of.
I forgive her. I love her. I have to act like they're still here.
Sound familiar?
The only way I can carry on their legacy is just just stay positive.
He told me he, Amanda, Rose, and Lily went everywhere together.
If I walk around with anger, hatred, I'm not going to be able to get through the situation.
Now he walks alone, without his big juice or brown sugar.
Aww.
Life will never be the same.
So sad.
Jaquan told me he hopes people hear this story and use it as a reminder to check on your friends and family mental health and don't brush off red flags. Meanwhile, Amanda is still behind bars tonight. She was denied bail, but she'll be back in court tomorrow. Jaquan told me he'll continue to support her. Reporting live, I'm Kyla Gaylor, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Yeah, you got it.
Jaquan, the dad, told the police that everything seemed normal and he was confused about what happened, but he does talk about these red flags that she was talking about the spirit world and him having an affair with a spirit woman or spirit wife. He had left that night and went to spend the night with his grandmother who was caring for his other child. He has a child a little bit older that was living with his grandmother.
Right.
And he spent the night with that daughter. Her name's Violet. So he returned the next day to Amanda, and this is what he found. He did say, again, their relationship was normal until she started talking about this alter spirit world. Now remember that, because I'm going to make a point about that. That's why I've repeated it a few times. Alter spirit world or spirit wife. Remember cheating with the spirit wife. There's significance to that. Now, after he called 911, Amanda's family also showed up and they were mad. They were angry and they were showing a lot of rage and anger, according to the news reports, at Amanda. Because obviously this is a shock and it's scary and you wouldn't imagine that somebody would do this, right? So her family was very upset as well. Police said they took her into custody, drove her to headquarters to question her, as well as to protect her, her safety. In her statement to the police, she denied knowing her significant other, Jaquan Singleton. She also denied having children. And she told the investigators that she lived by herself in her apartment. And she said she woke up on Friday to find 2 children in her living room who appeared to be dead. She told the police she believed the children, their toys,
I'm trying to figure out where I was going with that.
Were all planted in the apartment by someone. So showing some significant paranoia and
I guess we'll find out.
Delusions, right? I don't have children. Somebody put them here. Somebody put the stuff here. I've been framed, basically. According to police, she did not call for help. Instead, she took a shower. And she described the children as they're of darker skin and one of the kids to have foam coming out of its mouth. And Amanda noticed that she said she noticed the children. Amanda said, I noticed the children. But instead of calling the police, she said, I decided to take a shower because, well, I like showers. Investigators are still working on definitively determining the cause of death of both children, though the Lieutenant Ray Spencer of the Las Vegas Metro Police Department said detectives have a very good idea what the cause of injury what the cause of injury was for Rose. While it's not known if Amanda suffered from a mental illness, Spencer said he would definitely not rule that out at this point. I believe this is probably an episode of postpartum psychosis.
Yeah, and again, like we said though, but it can present differently in different people. So interesting, right? For her not to remember him or her daughters is different from Lindsay. Very different. But never leave mama alone when she starts talking like this. Culturally, you can't just call this spiritual warfare and get them psych help and pray. Don't just pray. She was found unfit to stand trial. She was still, so yeah, she lost it. Let's see what happens here.
Amanda doesn't have a record of being arrested or anything violent. The court records list only one prior arrest for her. She pleaded no contest in January of 2017 to a misdemeanor destruction of property charge. And that case was later dismissed. Now, they did allow the cameras in the courtroom, and I can show you her on that. She stood by the doors of the courtroom as the judge made sure she understood the charges filed against her. And her attorney did attempt to make the argument against media being in the arraignment, but the judge allowed it. Her attorney also made two motions, one requesting that Jefferson have the right to get bail and another preserve evidence. Her next court date is set for November 24th, 2020. So, like I said, here's my thoughts on what happened. As I mentioned, it sounds to me as if she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. According to experts and the website postpartum.net,
yeah, see, I was still talking
and
about that
my
back then.
personal experience as a high-risk OB nurse and 18 years in nursing, mainly as a registered nurse working with pregnant moms and moms, postpartum moms, but mostly pregnant moms since 2002. I have a few experiences with patients suffering from postpartum depression, but even some that have suffered from postpartum psychosis, where they hear voices, where they talk about it, where they're scared, where they reach out for help. Most of the time, they actually do reach out for help, but some do not. Unfortunately, family members often don't realize what is happening, and this topic definitely needs us to spread awareness. Postpartum psychosis is a rare illness. Compared to the rates of postpartum depression or anxiety, it occurs in approximately 1 to 2 out of every 1,000 deliveries, or approximately 0.1 to 0.2% of births. The onset is usually sudden and most often within 2 weeks of postpartum symptoms. Amanda's baby was only 2 months old, and it sounds like she had had some of these symptoms going on. Symptoms of postpartum psychosis can include delusions or strange beliefs, hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that aren't there, feeling very irritated, hyperactivity, decreased need for or inability to sleep, paranoia and suspicions, rapid mood swings, and sometimes difficulty communicating. The most significant risk factors for the postpartum psychosis are a personal or a family history of bipolar disorder or a previous psychotic episode. Of the women who develop postpartum psychotic episodes, research has suggested that there is approximately a 5% suicide rate and a 4% infanticide rate associated with the illness. So 4% of those that do develop this become suicidal and infanticidal. 5 to 4%. This is because the woman experiencing the psychosis is experiencing a break from reality. In her psychotic state, the delusions and beliefs make sense to her. They feel very real and are often religious. Remember, I told you she was talking about the spiritual stuff. Remember what that baby's father said about her talking about the spirit world. Let's look at that clip.
Amanda never did.
She's super calm, cool, and collective about it. Literally putting her clothes on, nothing, talking about can we sell the organs and stuff.
He told me he thinks the girls were drowned.
That day when I seen them, I died.
No.
I still feel dead. I feel blank. I'm numb.
In Amanda's arrest report, it said she told officers she didn't know Jaquan and denied
killing him
having
of-
any children.
Accusing
She
him
was
of
going through a
doing it like
spiritual,
Patrick.
a spiritual and soul type of
Doubt it.
thing, where she thought she wasn't in this reality. She was in the spiritual and soul reality.
He said the spiritual side all started a few weeks ago.
I feel like maybe me not coming back that night got to her.
Despite what his wife is accused of,
I forgive her. I love her. I have to act like they're still here because the only way I can carry on their legacy is just like, just stay positive.
he told me
Immediate treatment for a woman going through psychosis is imperative. It's also important to know that many survivors of postpartum psychosis never had delusions containing violent commands. Remember that. Most of them do not have delusions that they need to become violent or they're being told to be violent or to hurt themselves or to hurt their babies. Most of them do not. But the delusions take many forms and not all of them are destructive. Most women who experience postpartum psychosis don't harm themselves or anyone else. However, there's always the risk of danger because psychosis includes delusional thinking and irrational judgment. And this is why women with this illness must be quickly assessed, treated, and carefully monitored by trained healthcare perinatal mental health professional. Postpartum psychosis is temporary and it is treatable with professional help. But it's an emergency. And it's essential that you receive immediate help if you are having these symptoms. If you feel you or someone you know may be suffering from this illness, please know that it's not your fault and you are not to blame. Call your doctor or call emergency crisis hotline right away so you can get the help you need. There is a text number for National Crisis Hotline text line. You need to text the word home to 741-741. You can do that from anywhere in the US at any time of day. Also, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. And the website that I referred to earlier is at PSI, Postpartum Net, PSI. They also have postpartum psychosis coordinators to provide additional assistance to women and families who are not in an emergency situation, but realize there's some help needed or something going on. They also have online support groups for dads. They have online support groups in Spanish. They have one for Asian moms. And they also have a group, which would have been particularly helpful to Amanda, called Black Mamas Matter support group. They have many more. They even have pregnancy support groups, pregnancy and infant loss support group. And I did put the link below to their website, as well as a suicide hotline number and the text number information in the description of this video. So let's spread awareness. I really want to focus on some of these type of stories because I think they're really important to spread the word. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching Left Undone Incomplete Investigations. I'm Catherine. Please like, please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you can get more videos like
Good job,
this.
Catherine.
In the comments below, let me know, Have you ever experienced any kind of postpartum depression or psychosis, or anyone close to you that has? Do you know anyone? Please comment below and let me know if this has ever affected your life at all personally in any way. And again, please like, please subscribe. And if you want more of these notifications, because I am going to do a series on these type of cases, please ring that bell for notifications so you know when I post one.
All right.
Again, thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
And
Go bye.
take the time to subscribe. I promise you, it'll be worth it.
Now look at that. That's interesting. Oh, I know what it is. It's showing my, okay, because I started live streaming on Left Undone initially when this trial was going, but then nobody was in the chat. So I moved everybody over here. I'm like, wait, what? That's interesting. Okay, let me get rid of her. Bye, Kathy. Let's see. I think that Lindsay worried so much about her kids that eventually giving them to God was the only way she felt they would be safe, which would explain why she told the chaplain they were safe. Yeah, and in her last words were go to God. She says in her civil lawsuit, she told one of them or all of them, go to God, baby. So there's a little bit of that religious stuff going on, right? I think she was psychotic when she said that. People like to think that religion is made up, but I don't think that we all have this idea of the spirit world independently. Interesting. Yeah. Because like it said, it's often religious. I didn't remember that part, but then now if you think about Lindsay, she did say that go to God, baby. And she's telling the chaplain that I'm glad my kids are safe. I agree. My best friend's delusions during a psychosis are very often religious in nature. Isn't that interesting? It's fascinating, weird, crazy, but wild. Like, just where does your mind go? How fragile is our mind? I think two things can be true. There's a higher power and the people can be psychotic. Yeah, absolutely. And some kind of a brain misfiring, kind of like, almost like that's that picture kind of misfiring. Like we have our spiritual side. As a nurse, I was trained. The program I was in, we were there was a name for it. I can't even remember now. But basically, we were trained to look at every single person as a psychosocial, spiritual being. And I thought that was really interesting because when you do have that ingrained in your training and stuff, when you do look at a patient, you kind of absorb that whole thing. We're not just a physical being. We're biologically and we're psychologically and physically and spiritually humans. Irish Catholic. A mother has to be really evil and cruel to ill her children unless they have PPP. Other than that, nothing excuses a mother. So what do you think Lori Vallow's problem is? Do you think it was like religiosity? She was diagnosed with that. But Idaho doesn't have the insanity defense. So, and she's still like when Colby did his interview with her, she's still talking like that. There had to be something snapping her with the whole religious thing. There had to be. It also speaks to the fact that in other cultures, depending on their attitudes towards voices and hallucinations, we call them in the US, aren't always negative. Right. And that's what my daughter was saying too. She says different cultures and different countries have different experiences with their psychosis. Thought that was really interesting. She had said that the other day. Some of her worries about her kids made some sense, but it was to the degree which she took them that seems to have led into psychosis. I think the same can be true, yeah, of religious beliefs being taken right too far. What's the difference between a snap because your prescribed drugs have given you a zombie brain and a psychotic event? I think if you're already fragile, just like, you're more at risk when you've had a history or you do have undiagnosed something, I think that could, giving you the wrong chemistry for your brain, the wrong meds or too much or whatever can actually make it that much worse. And I think that's where they were going with this, right? In other cultures, sometimes they view audio hallucinations as their ancestors speaking to them, and most of the hallucinations are benevolent. And when it's male, it's dark spirit pretending to be family. super interesting. Hello. Hey. Hi, Randy Bellini. I mean, I think if it's like, I think it's like if you take insulin and you don't need it, if you need it, it's good. If you don't need it, it's bad. Right. You'll crash your blood sugar and bottom out and go into a diabetic coma. Right. Totally true. Don't take things you don't need. Yeah. It's like they say with like ADHD. If somebody takes ADHD medicine, and they don't need it, they go completely the opposite, because it's a stimulant. I couldn't understand 2 suicidal calls to the hotline with that, Lindsay. Yeah, she did. She tried. I get the whole thing about that suicide hotline pisses me off that you have to have a plan because, dude, if you're somebody calling, who cares if you don't have a plan? Something's going on in your head, right? It just makes me mad. Well, do you have a plan? Well, no. And then people back down too. They start thinking about it. I really think Lindsay, in her rational part of her brain that might have still been working, was the fear. I don't want to lose my kids. I don't want to lose my nursing license. I was talking to my friend, we're nurses, yesterday, and I'm like, people don't realize how freaking scary that is. Like before I had nursing license, I might drink a glass of wine and drive. Now I'm like, Uber everywhere. We're going to go have a glass of wine. Never. I will never risk my nursing license. That's such a fear. That is my livelihood. What could I do? I can't afford my life if I go work, somewhere that isn't a nurse. I don't have any other kind of experience to make decent money. Right. So it's a fear. I mean, it's back here or it's right here. I don't know. But in my mind, like everything I think of is like, I don't want to lose my nursing license. I don't want to lose my nursing license. I have a nursing license to lose. I say it so much when any weird little thing comes up, So I'm sure psychologically that was in her head very much so. Like, I don't want to say anything too much because I'm going to lose my nursing license. If they think I'm crazy, I'm going to lose my nursing license. I work in labor and delivery. They're never going to let me baby bound babies. Right. I had a really interesting chat with the husband today about Lori Vallow versus Lindsay. Lori was described by her family and friends in terms of very similar to Lindsay Clancy family and friends. Yeah. The good mom, the cared about her kids. They show the video of her playing with JJ. Hitting and got turned away. I see what you're saying. Sorry. Continuation. Lori Vallow was always manipulative and cruel. She had previously accused prior spouse of something. She did. I believe Lori Vallow definitely has a personality disorder. I think whatever her personality disorder is, she's narcissistic, maybe even. And like my daughter was saying, like maybe if she had antisocial personality disorder, she did it on purpose. Because again, that's a personality, right? It's not like a chemical imbalance. It's like you are a person with your personality. That's your personality. I can't change my personality, right? And she did, and she was super cruel to all the dads of her kids, to the point of like them like peacing out. And Joe Ryan, yeah. So I do see that for sure. She had issues more than just I lost it. I never heard of that. Lori Daybell was also selfish and wanted Chad Daybell, and he was an empty nester, and he and Lori agreed to what they did. Yeah. Big difference. Walking around in Hawaii, knowing, not in a delusion, literally like, that's great. Knowing that those kids definitely. But I do think like when Lori's talking now about Jesus coming to her and all that kind of stuff, I think there's somewhere in her head that after all this went down, that she just had to go to a place where she could never accept what she did. Her mind is like protecting her from ever accepting that. But we're just speculating. I don't know. She's we need to get her, when she dies, they need to take her brain and study it. hormones of the brain clashing postpartum, hormones not balancing out, other underlying health issues buried under. And Bella has been like talking about this entire trial. Like, where's the endocrinologist? Where's the hormone tests? Where's the blood work? What else is going on? The first time I took Ritalin, I fell sound asleep. I know when I put my son on, what did he start out on? Oh, whatever. When in 4th grade, he was diagnosed, my oldest, with ADD. He read the entire Harry Potter first book, cover to cover that day. I was like, wait, you never read. You never do your, like, okay. And was telling us all about it. She chose him and herself. Yes, ADHD medications has the paradoxical effect on us. ADHD, it's calming. The first time I ever took it, I was like, is this how everybody else feels? I know, because all 4 of my kids have ADHD. My boys hated the meds because they're small. Like, my family we're small boned, and we're small, and they were small, and they were like, they wanted to be they want to be bigger boys. So all 3 of my boys were like, I'm not taking that. I'm losing weight. I'm skinny. I want to be, So my boys stopped taking it pretty young before high school. My daughter, she's still like, it says it helps so much with her focus and being able to get things done and everything. So I don't know. It's really crazy. I've never taken ADHD meds. My daughter's like told me I need them. She is a therapist. So, but I'm like, at this point, I'm 62 years old. I just do jobs that work for my brain. I do things that work for my brain. I'm okay. I do, however, agree with what is that word? Hypergliosity with them both. Oh, religiosity. Religiosity. Got it. Snapping and then proceeding to strangle all 3 is harder to accept than if it had been just one. It took some time to strangle all 3, and she had to understand what she was doing. I don't know. I just don't look those freaking voices. I think it's going to be a really tough decision for the jury based on I just seeing like everybody in our chats different opinions on what happened and where she had to be mentally. I'm not on that jury. I would never want to be on that jury. They wouldn't accept me on that jury anyway because I already have, too much experience with this as a professional that they wouldn't pick me. I can't help seeing premeditation. Yeah, it's tough to look at it. I mean, I know I can, but not everyone can. That's why I think it's her lizard primordial mammalian brain that took over her autonomic and parasympathetic nervous systems. There's something goes on deep in the brain that has to make things like this happen. Lori's treatment was shallow. You could see the shallowness in Lori's behaviors and the way she was described to behave at trial. Oh, I saw her at trial. She was so different than Lindsay. She just had this attitude about her, and eye rolling, and yeah, we went. How many days were we there? I don't even remember. But I was there for the verdict, which was great because we were supposed to leave that day, and we were like waiting because my flight was like 4 in the afternoon. And then they said, oh, God, we have a verdict. Thank goodness. I didn't want to be on the plane or gone when the verdict came in. But it was just. Lori thinks she's God or something. Yeah, she thinks she's above everybody else. Lindsay was also hardworking, had one husband and consistency, but she also had a stable birth family. True. Actually, Lori's, Corey, and Ruby's behavior are what made me, Corey Richens and Ruby, yeah, what's her face? Ruby, Frankie, are what made me believe Lindsay did not mean to do this. Yeah, there's definitely a difference. And I don't remember anybody saying they were going out and about trying to find help saying there's something wrong with them, knowing there's something wrong with them, going to doctors, going to psychiatrists, going to postpartum, perinatal mental health clinics, suicide hotlines, all that stuff, right? No one's ever said anything like that about them. It would have only taken mere seconds to unconsciousness, and those bands were tied and not going to come off. It took seconds, but it could have taken longer. She thought she was doing something good. Yeah, I'm glad my children are safe. Also, what I don't love about the prosecution is they've changed their story based on what they said initially. And there's actually in one of the, I saw this yesterday, in one of the pre-conference hearings or whatever, that same girl, what's her face? Which one is she? The prosecutor. When she went up there the other day when Dr. Laposata was on, and she's like, they were round like this. And then she went all smug and sat down. She literally says they were tied. Like in a pre-conference, somebody found the link and I saw it on another channel, and she says the bands were tied. And Patrick said the bands were tied. And the way Dr. Laposata was talking about manual strangulation versus the ligature strangulation are two different things on how blood flow would be cut off to the brain. So what Dr. Laposata said made a lot of sense to me. And based on what Patrick said, I have no reason not to believe Patrick that he said they were tied. And then they asked, and he said tied like you tie a shoe without the bow, which nurses, how do we tie a tourniquet on someone to draw blood or start an IV? It's like that. Same thing, right? So I can see that being the way she tied it, like a tourniquet. Put the tourniquet right here. Find the vein, drop, so, and it's just like a quick, tight. So when mom had I don't even know how to pronounce that. Whatever, you can adrenal gland tumor. Yes, thank you. When she had that, she flipped into someone we never saw before. Her adrenals were pushing out excess epinephrine and waves. Wow. Symptomatic episodic issues. How scary. You're like, what happened to her? Wow. Corey and Lori might have taken meds, but she wouldn't have split her throat or jumped out the window. True story too. Exactly. They didn't. Lori is cultish. Definitely. That whole, like, if you go all the way back and listen to everything, that the whole zombie thing and all that stuff that they believed, and the levels, and these people get this score and that people get that score, and Chad came up with all that stuff. That was very cultish. Very, very, very cultish. You're right. Ruby clearly wrote about why her kids deserved what they were getting from her view in journals. Interesting. I didn't follow Ruby very closely. I still haven't even watched, I think there's one on Netflix or something. Oh yeah, Lori. Thank goodness Lori's locked up for the rest of her life. I think she's probably running the show in prison too with all the gals. I think Lindsay thought she was sending them somewhere safe. I do too. Jersey girl. When I had my kids 40 years ago, we had the baby blues. Right. And we still do. We still have that. We have baby blues. I tell my moms, I worked in postpartum for about 6 months in 2024. And I went back to hospice because I don't love postpartum. Ugh. It's not my thing. I like labor and delivery. I like case management, but postpartum was just too much of a factory for me nowadays. Literally, they came in, they delivered this morning, and it's all about getting them out the door again now. Like, it's so crazy. It's like, read this, do this. Let me check your bleeding. Bye. You need help breastfeeding? Okay. Like, it's just such a factory. I felt like I didn't have time, and I'd have 4 couplets at once. And I was like, I can't care for these people, right? It's all about documenting. And so I didn't like it. I like the actual job. I like caring for the postpartum moms, but my job was so much about documenting. I had 8 patients to document on. I had mom, and baby. which took a lot of documentation, which made me like, I can't even spend time with these people. What the hell's happened? Because it's supposed to be 3 couplets, but they said where I work, they said it's 3 couplets, but if the staffing, so the way it's worded, if staffing, basically if you're short, so a nurse can take 4 couplets. But then every day they would be like, and this is a tenant facility, FYI, because, but every day they would be like, cancel a nurse. And then they'd bring in enough of us to have 4 couplets each. Like, something's wrong with this picture. And we didn't have secretary. And then around the nurses have to answer the phone. It was just stupid. So anyway, I left. I didn't stay there very long. I even had a $10,000 sign-on bonus that I ditched. Like, sorry, I don't want it. I gotta go. So, you got to, healthcare can be all about money. Don't love that. But we still do have baby blues, and a lot, most, I forget what the odds are, but it's like 1 in 3 or something like that will experience baby blues. It's pretty common, but that's just baby blues, right? And then you get over it, but such a huge hormone shift when you have a baby that it makes sense. Like you're going to cry over something, or you're just exhausted, or everything's overwhelming. But then there's postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, postpartum PTSD, if you had a traumatic birth experience. And even dads can experience some of this, which I think is really interesting. Probably the lack of sleep and all that stuff comes into play. Additionally, it seems like Lindsay, didn't look her kids in the eyes. And as it was said, she's a very effective way of ending their lives. Yeah. Almost like just in a trance, right? They probably heard her say, "Go to God, baby," as they got wrapped around their necks. And that's what breaks my heart. It's so sad. So horrible. Lots of people don't believe Lori is psychotic. Do you think it's Lindsay's obvious attempt to harm herself that got this true attention and groundswell of support? I think it's more the fact that she really, really tried to get help. And then I think if she would have died, if Patrick would have came home just a little bit later and she would have died, where would we be? Just a murder-suicide? Nobody would have looked into that. It would have just been, wow, she was depressed, murder-suicide. Lori didn't want to end Lori's life at all. Lori wanted to be able to be the queen. Don't take all these kids with me. We can't take them. We're going to pick the 144,000. I'm one of them. I'm the queen. I would get so lost in something I was reading that I'd stop perceiving my surroundings. Even when something loud happened. Isn't that wild to get so tunnel vision in there? Hiding out in prison for 5 to 6 life prison terms, exactly where Lori Daybell needs to be. Locked away from society. I can't believe that Lori told Colby Ryan to let her meet his children. That's how stupid she is. She's so narcissistic. Like, me, let me. If I had been diagnosed at a young age, I probably wouldn't have had all my comorbid conditions. I think knowledge of the condition and lack of negative view towards ADHD helps. Yeah, when I was growing up, there's no such thing. I would get in trouble. My mom was like, "You're just bad at math." And I'm like, "It's just boring. I hate it." And then I realized, later on when I got my 4 kids, and they're like, yeah, we observed Michael during class, and he was tapping, looking out the window, going under the desk for things, like blah, blah, blah. Him too, huh? Can't have one that isn't. My daughter was able to handle it better in school than the boys were, though. All these women that have PPP, they should send them to the NIH for research if they could do so for deeper medical research. Yeah, that would be good. They need research on this. I wouldn't say they're both hyper religious. I actually don't think it would have taken that long. They're very small children. She's their mother. Lori is arrogant. Lindsay is broken. Very different. Yeah. Lori was definitely arrogant. And I believe Lori's very much a narcissist. I lost you guys. You guys had a lot. Where am I? Woo. All right, let me just go down to the bottom because you guys are. Lori would still be 1%er right now. Even after just normal surgery, you get the blues. I think it's coming out of the medication. I'm just a difference in your body. So I could see how that could happen, especially when my first baby was born in 1982. I went in on a Sunday night. He was born the next afternoon. I stayed until Friday afternoon. They kept us longer back then. Yeah, I was 3 days. I was like, 3 days, I'll take the 3 days. They're like, if you want to go home, that was 89, 91, 93. I'm like, I'll stay. I'll have my little period of time here. But it was helpful. Well, first of all, I had physical issues. So I couldn't pee after I had my babies. So that was a whole nother story. But it just was nice to just have that couple of days there. I know everybody wants to go home, but I felt like my care was better back then than it is now. The funny thing is that her Arizona trial, you could tell Lori was kind of pissed that she left her rich husband, who was obsessed with her, in a loving way for the bum chat. I know. And when she was like, what was the lady's name that had a date with them? Oh my God, she was such a bitch to her. Lori, like, my husband. Dude, you killed the man. He's not your husband. And you have another husband. Like, she was just very possessive of Charles in that trial, right? Like, mine. I used to always go up to my mom and say, Mom, I'm bored. I know. Mom, what can we do? We're bored. Can we bake? What can we do? I'm bored. I'm so bored. She's like, go play. Leave me alone. Let me read my newspaper. A big difference between Lori and Corey is both of them appear to think more highly of themselves than they ought. Yes, true. Between them and Lindsay, yeah. She is. She's a crazy narcissist. She is. Definitely a different case than Lindsay's, because I think Lindsay was a good mom, was committed to her marriage, did enjoy being a nurse, had a career that way that she felt was important, and was looking for help. Definitely different. That's how I felt working in healthcare too. It's like, we're not only supposed to care, we weren't allowed to care. Exactly. It makes it so hard when you have too many patients. Like, I'm sorry, I can't care for you right now. I gotta go. If I'm not done with my charting by the time I have to give a report, then I'm in overtime and they'll be like, why aren't you done with your charting? Ugh, makes me nuts. That's why I don't want to do inpatient anymore. Hospice was easier because nobody could call me to another room when I'm seeing a patient in hospice, because I'm in their house and I'm like, I can go there next, but we got traffic, we got things to do before I get there. It was just easier for me to focus on where I was and the family and their questions and stuff than a call light ringing and saying, your patient in the room needs your help do this. And she strangled them all with a $60 Bodhi exercise. Oh, is that Beachbody thingy? Exercise band set after she lost all the money. Yeah, so apparently I didn't. Somehow I missed that whole thing about her losing money doing the Beachbody MLM thing. Why was she even doing that? She had a job. Sounds like my job, but not in OB. It's depressing and soul crushing, not what healthcare is supposed to be. I know. I hate it. It's just so bad. And we have ratios out here in California, but it's just hard, especially when we were in paper charting back when I started, it was easier because you didn't have to document so much. Now you got like that freaking care plan documentation and click over here and the orders and do and send this and do that and then this. And, I feel like OB has gotten a lot more high risk than it did when I started in OB initially. Like, so many people are really sick with preeclampsia, like gestational diabetes. Like there's just so much more high risk now than there was when I started as a nurse. And I mean, I can't even tell you how many times in that 6 months at the last hospital I worked at for 6 months doing postpartum, how much blood I had to hang. Like, what's for freaking bleeding to death around here for? Like, that didn't used to happen. So it's pretty wild. I didn't see that one. I'll have to look at her recent streams. I can see why people have such different interpretations, though, because even details like the nightstand by the window with the cup left there that said because kids beside the bloody knife. And my friend, okay, so my friend Gail, who's also an OB nurse, she's like, Kathy, what nurse crushes pills? What nurse crushes their pills to drink them? And I'm like, well, yeah, that is weird. So that was when she was on the bandwagon thinking that, it was Patrick, like Patrick did it and mixed it in her drink. But I don't know. Has anybody looked at that Coronado case that Nurse Kim mentioned where the judge on the bench trial found her guilty even though she had a psych break again on trial? No, I don't know anything about that case. I'll have to look at it. When my mom had her last one, she was sent home same day and with no pain meds. So wild. Mixing real life with Hollywood movies is dangerous for some people, in my opinion. Twilight and Harry Potter, Chad and Lori Daybell, and John Matthias, and his observation with Brad Pitt. So creepy. That's freaking weird, dude. So weird. They're sent home. Women have mastectomies now and are sent home same day. And there's also the risk of infection increases by you staying in the hospital, but the risk of complications and figuring out at home is also pretty scary, right? Because hospitals are full of all kinds of germs, nosocomial infections. You don't want to be there too long, but you don't want to be there too short either. For Andrea Yates, I think it was religion and mental illness and a husband that wanted her to be a baby factory. But Andrea loved her kids. She was a poor woman. Lori and Ruby, I think, are ex-women that would not have been moms if it weren't for religious cultures impressing that on them. I think Lindsay wanted to be a mom no matter what. And Corey was a grift. Yeah, Corey is a weird girl. Very weird. Okay, I'm going to go down to the bottom because you guys are chatty. Yeah, John Matthias of Hidden True Crime. That's who she's talking about. Hey, Dental Lori. Welcome. How are you? And his Brad Pitt book thing. One of my favorite actors. What? This is weird. Nope. A larger surface area means they would have to absorb more quickly. Okay, I'm missing things. Bella, that's why I like surgery, one patient at a time. Anesthesia is managing airway. Floor nursing is chaotic. Yeah. I never worked med surg and I've never wanted to. If I went to nursing school and they told me I had to work med surg, I would have never become a nurse. Like, nope. I would have done PICU, but I chose L&D. I actually went to nursing school because I wanted to be an L&D nurse. That was the whole reason I went. Oh, she got sucked into the MLM. That's so crazy. Okay. They said it's the same MLM as Thrive that Shanann Watts worked with. I'm in the South. No ratios of all foolishness. Okay. PLM, you have brought that up about Shanann and this Beachbody thing. And we went over the ingredients and they have a postpartum Shakeology or whatever for with a lot of interesting ingredients in these, which very possibly when we were talking about could have, if she was taking those and her meds and losing her mind, with postpartum depression, the combination might have just been really hell. Oh my God, I swear I can't watch this anywhere else. People are saying her husband did it and he's framing her. Oh my God, with that, I can't even with that anymore. Please, God. Patrick didn't do it. She has a defense attorney. Do you not think that Kevin, right? I get it, Amy, because I had to stop looking at some of the Facebook groups that I was just trying to get info from, but they're like, husband did it. Patrick did it. Kevin Reddington is defending Lindsay. If he thought anybody else did it, you don't think he would have brought that up to get her off? The prosecution, if they thought Patrick did it, or if they thought Patrick was having an affair, which is the other big rumor, then they would have brought that up as motive, right? I mean, there's just so much to it. I just can't with the Patrick thing anymore. The guy didn't do it. He had the worst tragedy I ever imagined. I would never want to be in his shoes. I wouldn't even want to be alive if I was him. If I went to run an errand for my wife and I came home and my 3 babies, 8-month-old, 2-year-old, 5-year-old, how horribly traumatic. For be blaming him is just sick at this point. It's just freaking Lifetime movie stupidness. There's no evidence of it. And even some of these big creators, and it's been said he could probably sue for defamation. He is not a public figure. You can be defaming him really easily out there. Even if he didn't win the defamation, he can file lawsuits against you, and now you got to go fight for it, right? When my mom had a stroke, she was in the hospital for 1 week before she passed. Maybe 1 or 2. Not so great, but all of the nurses were amazing. We were so thankful for him. There's some amazing nurses out there, thank goodness. And some of us just want to care for patients, and we can't stand the fact that we're spread so thin. It's awful. Not the same formulas, some similar ingredients, but Bodhi has a lot of caffeine. Interesting. I know. She was losing weight while on Seroquel, and Seroquel causes weight gain. So it's interesting. I stayed inpatient until surgery day. I had a low GI bleed. I had my colon cancer surgery at Christmas. I was inpatient a month. I had to have blood transfusion. Okay, I read those in a wrong order. Blood transfusions, iron infusions, heparin drip. You got the nurse curse, girl. You know that's a thing, right? Hospital tried to send me out before surgery. Oncologist said no. Thank goodness. Good doctor. And then you stayed inpatient until surgery day. You had a low GI bleed. The nurse curse is real. There's so many traveling nurses in Florida, so many. They're taking pictures of him and his wife, pretty intrusive, of Patrick. Yeah. Law and Crime needs mods and filters. Their chat window is nuts. There's some of these big channels that don't have mods. It's really wild. They just let everything goes. They don't even have what's our phrase bot guy, Nightbot. They don't even have that. At least Nightbot can get some of that stuff. You guys are so sweet. Yeah, we're also very sorry for your loss. Yeah, it's so crazy. I believe Reddington and her civil attorney is also criminal defense attorney, Rosemary Scarpaccio. Yeah. She's supposed to be really good. They're both long-lived lions in Massachusetts. Amazing. Definitely isn't what I trust that he didn't do it, but her attorney's saying he didn't do it. I trust in that. Right. I mean, if there was evidence, it would have been brought to trial, right? I mean, if she would have been dead, maybe they would have gone that way and really investigated. But I believe they investigated him. I believe that they're smart enough to do an investigation, and Lindsay remembers doing it. Let's not forget that part. You had no symptoms of colon cancer. Huh. Until a cold and bleed. Wow. I get my colonoscopies because my mom has 2 siblings that died of colon cancer. So that last one I had a polyp one. I had a polyp. So get your colonoscopies, get your mammograms. Last mammogram I had, I got called back, but it was fine. But makes you so nervous. But better to find out early. Also with the company that he worked for and the job that his current wife, Fertility MD, has, they can't have things like this associated with their names. Exactly. So defamation, they could fight for defamation for sure, because it's a big deal. If they lose any of their livelihood, his wife or anything over this, guess what, people? Yes, get your colonoscopy, folks. Mine was not due for another year. So you had the bleed before you were even due. So you were on top of your colonoscopies. Yeah, see? Sometime, and then you wait that other year, who knows what would have happened. She's a legend. Yeah, you've been through some stuff, girl. But at least your body signaled you, huh? Glad to hear it, even though it's so freaking scary. You could have convinced me in an alternate scenario like Kelsey Simons type that he wanted to hurt Lindsay. You can't convince me that he would want to hurt his kids. That makes sense too. Thank you. Long live lions. Love that expression. Reddington looks like an old, tired lion, often staring ahead, plotting his leap. Yeah, he does. He does. I have ulcerative colitis. It's awful. Oh God, that sounds so bad. I had a patient in my hospice patients with that. It was so bad. I felt so bad for her. She wasn't dying of that, but it was just one more complication. I just love drinking 5 gallons of lemon lime clean your colon soda. The one I got this last time, insurance didn't cover it. It was like $200 out of pocket, but it was so much better. Like, it was really easy to drink, and it was only like this much, and it worked really well. I didn't have any abdominal cramping or anything, but when I went to the pharmacy, he's like, we can give you the other one because your copayment on this one is like $200. And I'm like, I'll just pay the $200. That whole prep is miserable. I took my chances paying the $200 and it was worth it. So it sucks that medications, when they're new like that, come out. Oh, there's a cheaper version, that they cost so much more out of your pocket. I just really don't trust the MSP anymore after Sandra Birchmore and Karen Reed and reading Proctor and Friends' messages. My mother has to get colonoscopies yearly. Safe over sorry. Every year. Wow. Ed's not a fan of the colon prep. Yeah. I'm on warfarin for a blood clotting disorder. My oncologist said warfarin saved my life because that caused you to bleed. Interesting. The tumor was a bleeder. Being on thinners, the tumor bled earlier. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Wow. Warfarin saved your life. Can you switch to Eliquis or no, because of the cost still? I'm glad it was caught, but sorry you had to go through it. Yeah. I hope Kelsey Fitzsimmons gets her son back. I guess I just need to have a copy of the stand nearby. My coworker just did it and said it took pills rather than liquid. Interesting. So they had a different prep too. Huh. Yeah, the last prep I got was so mumuch better. And it was just when did I do it? Last November? My mom was still alive, so because I had to get a babysitter that day and I had to get a ride. Pills and a ton of Pedialyte. It's the worst. I hate the prep. Yeah, the prep sucks. I did my original undergrad PRN in Boston and wanted to go back to live until Karen Reed's story broke. I'll just visit. Yeah. Nightmare. And then, like, after my colonoscopy, I was like, I got to go sit in my neighbor's car. Like, just drive home. Oh my, I thought she would have by now. As I said, okay. GI cancers are the worst in terms about funds, secondary only to brain malignancy. Funds, but much more common. Different places have different preps for colonoscopy to berries. I had to do a lot of prep. I just had mine in November. Can't remember what it was called, but it was worth it. I have a repeat colonoscopy next month. Pray nothing's found. Oh, you're gonna have to worry about that every single time. Don't you hate that anticipation? Ugh, it's the worst. And then, I had what I have? I had to do a CT scan because of the abdominal pain I was having. And they put the results up where you could go into the chart and see them before I got a report. And I was like staring, Googling, like just the things you tell everybody not to do. And I'm like comparing on Google bad, things on the CT scan. I'm like, oh, I think I have that. My friend was like, Kelly, stop it. I said, I think I have a bowel obstruction. She goes, you do not. I'm like, it looks like this. Nurses are just as bad as the rest of us. At the colonoscopy, the nurse asked if I wanted to let the doctor know anything. I'm just said, I apologize if I did anything to piss him off. I was advised to only do stick test at 55 and never had one before. I asked for one anyway and was glad since they removed some polyps. Yeah. I won't do the what is it called? There's a name for it. But like you said, the stick test. But since my family, they're like, that's too far removed, your aunt and uncle. And I'm like, not in my eyes. That's not too far removed. I want the colonoscopy. Thank you. And my mom's had a lot of polyps removed. I'm like, and she had 2 siblings. No, I will take the colonoscopy, please. Thank you. And this last time I did have polyps. The other time I didn't. So I've done it. I did it at 50. 51 is when I did it. I was a little late. And then at 61. So. All right. I think I'm going to go. It is 12:25. I'm actually hungry. And we'll be back tomorrow, I guess. Tomorrow they're supposed to have a full day in court. So we'll be back. We've been catching up though, huh? Pretty much. So, yep. It definitely is worth the pound of cure. So we'll do this again tomorrow for Friday. And then I'm going to be, but I'll be back on Sunday. So we'll be back at it again on Monday too. See what happens. Just keep going. Never stop doing your checkups. I've known people lost follow-up come in with stage 4 to the bone, only identify sandal and right. And that's the thing. Like the routine preventative screenings and everything are so important because everybody that I know are like, are you caught up to date on this? My cousin had breast cancer. And she wasn't, but she noticed it herself. She said she raised her arm and she had like a dimple. And so then she went and she did have breast cancer. So, and she said, I wasn't very good about my mammograms, but thank goodness I noticed that. So it's stage 1. But yeah. The home test would have missed your colon cancer. See, they're like, I don't know about that. Yeah. What do you think about the Charlie Kirk assassination and the Fed's narrative around what happened? Do you believe it? God, I think if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I that from the get-go. Now my one son, he keeps sending me stuff, but I don't know. I just think that it was exactly what they said initially, but God only knows in this world. My mom found her own breast cancer the first time too. Yep. All right, I'm going to go. Now these two are snoozing. Can you believe this? After all that nonsense? Where's who? That's on one on the floor and one on the chair. Oh, he just opened his eyes. I'm like, whoop, she's talking about us? She's talking about us. All right, you guys, I will see you tomorrow. And, leave comments, like. If you didn't like, please like. If you're watching, please hit the like button. I do appreciate it very, 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 very much. And I will be back tomorrow. See you soon. Where's my end stream? Oh, there it is. All right, guys. Stay safe and stay well. I'll see you tomorrow.